3 running backs. They have till 4 o'clock today to strike a deal.
And the biggest of which is Saquon Barkley. That's the one everybody's got their eyes on.
Although Josh Jacobs is actually the guy that led the NFL in rushing last year. I mean, if I'm Josh Jacobs, I'm like, hey, hold on a second. I had 300 more yards than that guy. But yeah, Barkley, Jacobs, and who's the other guy? Tony Pollard of the Cowboys. And the Cowboys apparently haven't talked to Tony Pollard at all. They're like, no, man, we put the tag on you. $10 million. You should be happy with that. Yeah, you should be happy with that. You're coming off a major leg injury. Just, do it again and you'll get paid. We have a pretty good track record. We pay our guys.
In fact, we overpay them on a lot of occasions in positions that they don't need to be overpaid for. And it puts us in a financial bind with our salary cap. And, it's prevented us from maybe picking up players that we need to get to where we want to go because we overpaid running backs in the past.
And you fit that criteria. So just one more good year, man. Trust me. It'll all work out. So, hey, how about them Marlins?
Oofta.
Yeah.
Oofta.
So, there were 3 upstart teams in the National League in the quote-unquote first half of the season. It was the first 60% of the season because the All-Star break's not at the halfway point. And, Mark, in the East, it was the Marlins.
Right.
And in the Central, it was the Reds.
Correct.
And in the West, it was the Diamondbacks.
Sure was.
Okay, so we last did a show on Friday morning. They each played a 3-game series. Mark, how many wins did the Marlins, Reds, and Diamondbacks combine for since we last spoke?
That would be zip, zilch, nada.
Look at that. You going division by division there. Zip, zilch, nada. Well done. Well played. So, the Marlins and the Diamondbacks anyway found out that American League East, it's not bad. Because we both went on the road and played playoff teams in Baltimore and Toronto, and we didn't win a game. Can I ask a question, though? So the Marlins, like the other 29 teams, Mark, they had this thing called the All-Star break, which means that they didn't play. And they come out of the All-Star break, and the 3rd game after the break, they're having a bullpen game. Can somebody explain that to me? You have 4 days off. I believe the pitcher that went to the All-Star game didn't pitch. Why was your rotation not lined up? Why were you starting an opener against the Orioles? What am I missing there? That one confused me. I paid attention to the transactions. All right. Didn't see them put half their starting staff on the IL. I mean, this isn't like the Rays who actually have 2 starters on the IL. So, and it's funny, they were able to line, and they had to play a doubleheader on Saturday because Friday night got rained out. Right. And it's funny, they had a starting pitcher. So,
pulled the rarity, won both games of a doubleheader. That doesn't happen too often these days.
I know. The Rays did it, and so did the Phillies. So that concerns me if I'm a Marlins fan. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? What do you mean we have an opener? Coming out of the All-Star break? That's not good. So, trading deadline 2 weeks tomorrow in baseball, just so you know.
Great show lined up for you today. We'll talk a little golf with Bob Harig, Matt Murschel to talk some college football, and Blaine Bishop to talk about the Titans, all on Miller and Moulton.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Some people are tough to please. Mongo, we did 2 minutes in that 12-minute segment on baseball. 2.
That's all right. The first 9 minutes weren't on Twitch, so.
Can of relief. I think we could ask a bunch of trivia questions about the Women's World Cup. I don't think our audience would get half of them right.
Thank you.
Is that your ham shirt?
Mm-hmm.
The Ross did get a new sponsor, Busch Light.
It was a great match, Ambien. And for you at around 20, it probably was one of the best matches you've ever seen. Because it was a great match.
I don't know, McMillan. I'll tell you what, if the kid beats him down under, then he's then he's met his match.
It was funny. The crowd was rooting for him.
Oh my goodness. I thought he was playing Andy Murray. They were rooting for him so hard.
Did you hear how hard they booed Djokovic when he broke his racket?
Yeah. Which is funny because they love McEnroe in the booth. So give me a break.
They didn't start doing any cheering for Joker till he was down 2-1 just because they wanted a fifth set.
I feel like Djokovic has always been the villain, the antagonist.
Well, I love Rafa and, of course, Federer. So, yeah, Djokovic handled that one better than I would have. 7-time champion, and you guys rooted against me like it was a British Davis Cup match.
Right.
Okay.
That's why when he broke the racket, I mean, it was just hard boos.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, Alcaraz has all the momentum right now, and it doesn't look like he's slowing down. Carlitos.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope you had a great weekend. We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Magic numbers 40, 45, and 52 to the start of the football season as to whenever in your mind it gets underway. Week 0, USC and Notre Dame in action. If that's enough, there's only 7 games. If that's so, we're 40 days away from football. If it's week 1 of the college football season, the Thursday before Labor Day weekend, Gators and Knights in action, oh my, 45 days away. And if Lions Chiefs is what you're waiting for, that's 52 days away. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
The big number, however, is 21,000. That's the text line, 21000. Anything you want to add to the show, you can text us at any time. If you've never texted the show before, you need to send in the keyword, which is FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio. Then you can text as little or as much as you would like.
So should we ask the poll question, who's going to win the AL East, Tampa Bay or Baltimore? And do we dare put Toronto on the list? I mean, Mark, for the first time all year, the Rays are not the leader in the loss column in the AL East.
You're right.
They have a 1-game lead in the standings, but that's only because they've played 4 more games than the Orioles. The Orioles have 1 less loss than the Rays. So the Orioles control their fate, so to speak. If their magic number is lower than Tampa Bay's.
Right. If they win out, they'll win the division.
Exactly.
There you go.
Now, I don't like their chances of winning out, but that's a whole other thing. I just love the fact that they keep making moves. They keep calling up prospects. Man, we're tightening this deficit on the Rays. We've cut it from 6 to 4. Hey, call up another minor league pitcher. We've reduced this from 4 to 2. Hey, get me an outfielder. From where? AAA. Mark, I don't know if the Orioles are going to go, quote unquote, make a move. Maybe they're just going to keep calling guys up. I don't know. Is it Rochester? Where's their AAA? Maybe they're just like, you know what? Rochester's better than anything.
Kansas City.
Right. The Royals, the Rockies, or the A's have to offer. We're good. Otani homered last night. That's his 34th. I think he's on the same pace Judge was on last year. Oh, by the way. So if you see it's in the 9th inning. If you see the homer, he got jammed. His arms are not fully extended. It's a high fastball. It's above the waist, and he muscles it out to the deepest part of the park, center field. But his arms are not fully extended. He kind of has to bring his hands in. You look at where the ball hits the bat. It's not the sweet spot. Mark, I just keep throwing money on top of the pile when it comes to him. My offer, I think,
I know you negotiated with yourself, and you've added $5 million a year, seemingly every month.
I'm at 9 for 500, and I'm prepared to go higher,
even though you don't know if there's another bid out there.
Right. I might be 100 million more than everybody else. I'm at 55.5 million a year for 9 years. Every time I watch him play, I'm like, I gotta have him. I gotta have him. So, God, it's an exciting time in sports right now, and football's right there on the horizon. But this is a hell of a baseball season. All right, we had a classic Wimbledon final. Got the last golf major of the year. How about that? Then it's 9 months to the Masters.
Yeah, I may want to revisit this whole PGA moving up thing.
Oh, really?
I don't like the golf season ending this week because the rest of it. See, here's the problem. They think they've got a FedEx Cup. They think they have something that people want to watch. I have no interest whatsoever in golf after this weekend. And I've been watching golf more probably this year than I have in years past. I mean, I'm going to admit this.
Uh-oh.
I had the Barbasol on yesterday.
Whoa! Hey now! What is going on? You didn't know 3 guys in that field.
No, I didn't. But at that point, the Marlins were down 5 spit. The Rays are in a rain delay.
And down like 7-0, I think, at one point.
When it came back on, they went down pretty quickly there. So there wasn't a lot to watch. The
Scottish, they moved the tee times up 4 hours. And so now I will say, if you were watching Wimbledon, there was a chance that you didn't know the results of the Scottish Open. Because the Scottish Open really was, I think the Scottish Open was over before Alcaraz won Wimbledon. I mean, that's how early in the day they force-fed that sucker.
Yeah, because they moved that way up. I actually watched Rory's putt on tape, which you knew he was going to make it because it was about 10-3.
And what time did the broadcast end, Mark?
3, and there was no way to get a playoff hole in it. When it was 2:45 and he's on, and they're watching the 2 guys chip up and saying, Rory's got to wait for, I'm like, looked up at the clock. I go, well, he makes this putt. This thing's over. I don't even need to check the phone.
It's funny how that works. See, that's when we do it to them. You know, they do it to us, which all of a sudden you see this guy, well, what's he doing on the screen? Oh, he's going to make this. Okay, well, that's how we do it to them. Oh, this has to be, oh, Rory's going to make this. Why? Yeah, well, they're signing off here in 6 minutes. Ah. But it's a good time in sports. It really is. Baseball's entertaining. Got a trade deadline in 15 days. Now, granted, I get a little more excited about those things than most of you because most of you, you have balance in your life. You have a life. Me, not so much.
But there's a line in baseball right now as far as your trade deadline goes. I mean, you look at, even though the Marlins had a rough weekend and lost all 3, there's 5 teams basically, unless somehow the Padres or Mets start winning every game they play, which it doesn't appear that they're going to do, David.
Mark, those 2 teams can't win series.
No.
You want them to put a winning streak together. They can't even win series. So, no. I mean, the Cardinals, the Mets. I don't know if the Padres are going to be sellers, though. I think they're actually going to ride it out. But they may not be buyers. Then you got the White Sox. To me, the interesting thing is, what are the Yankees and the Red Sox going to do? Particularly the Red Sox. It's supposed to be a transition year for the Red Sox. And they're what? 2 games out of the playoffs?
They're both 2 back of the Astros for the final wild card spot.
But it looks really bad because they're tied for last, even though they're both 6 games above 500. Hey, can we come to a conclusion about the Yankees? Remember, they finished 49-43 in their last 92 last year?
Right.
Mark, they've played 94 games this year. Aren't they 50-44?
They are.
Okay, so they've played well over 162 games here. They've played over 180 games. Combined, they're like 12 games above 500. So in a 162-game season, you prorate it. The Yankees are like an 86-win team. They've done this now for a very long time. They've done this for 8 months of baseball. Can we make – and that's with Aaron Judge in 5 or 6 of those 8 months being historically great. Can Brian Cashman and the Yankees come to a conclusion? They're mediocre. If you want to contend, be bold, because you're not good enough.
Well, they're playing the Angels this week, and let's see how much work they get done to try to get Ohtani in pinstripes in 2 weeks. You want to be bold, they're taking on the team that they can be bold with.
Moreno reportedly told Ohtani yesterday, I'm not trading you, and I'm prepared to offer you over $500 million, which, of course, begs the question, why didn't he do it over the All-Star break? Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is next. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I know, Paul. Strange times, strange baseball season. Wes, the Phillies. And I would have said that before the weekend.
Yes, Ambien. I don't think Publix has even made its... Well, Publix has made its way out of the Florida, because I know they're in North Carolina, which means they're probably in Georgia and South Carolina, too. It is Florida's contribution on the shopping world, though. Publix may be the greatest grocery store there is.
I'll tell you what, when I was in upstate New York, Wegmans was
Wegmans
amazing.
is really nice, yeah.
Wegmans is amazing.
I hope Messi goes back to Publix. Because him going to Publix is he's probably the most famous human that's ever stepped into a Publix. Ever.
You're talking worldwide, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Human.
No, Whole Foods is way nicer. Whole Foods is gourmet grocery shopping.
And it should be called Whole Paycheck. And did they tell him to beat it?
Ah!
I have yet to go to a Buc-ee's.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, that commercial break, another reason for you to sign up and take in Miller and Moulton on our Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, because we're discussing our favorite grocery stores. I mean, it's the riveting conversation you just can't get anywhere else. It's twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
a classic, an epic Wimbledon final. And the young gun took down the legend. Novak Djokovic hadn't lost a match at Wimbledon in 6 years. He was a 7-time champion. He won the first set 6-1. And then 20-year-old Carlos Alcaraz, in just his 4th ever tournament on grass, figured it out. He took down Djokovic 6-4 in the 5th after 4 hours and 42 minutes. It's his 2nd Grand Slam title. It's his 1st Wimbledon. Well done, young lad. Well done. Also across the pond, the Scottish Open, Rory McIlroy finished birdie to win. He now heads to the Open Championship at Hoylake, where he won his last major 9 years ago. My guess is he'll be the betting favorite. You know, Scotty Scheffler, Mark, had a horrible week. I mean, normally he's top 3 tee to green. This week at the Scottish, he was 4th. He hasn't finished outside the top 12 in a tournament this year. And he can't putt. And I still might pick him to win the Open.
Easier greens to putt.
Yeah, they're slower. Okay, you can, don't have to worry about as many 3 putts. If
Bang them at the hole.
Right. Well, Steph Curry, by the way, won that celebrity event in Lake Tahoe. He had 4 eagles in the 3-day tournament, including a hole-in-one on Saturday. And I will say he celebrated a hole-in-one differently than, most. He sprinted from the tee right on through the green. Looked like Hale Irwin high-fiving people behind the green. He eagled 18 to win that celebrity event yesterday. Good for him. Champions Tour, Steve Stricker won his 3rd major of the year. It's pretty good. Maybe he should be on the Ryder Cup team. Hell, he captained it last time. LPGA, by the way, Sweden's Lynn Grant held off the American who just won the U.S. Open, Allison Karpuz. She held her off to win her first ever LPGA event, the Dana Open. NFL news. D-Hop signed. Remember, he was all about winning a ring. So he signed with the Tennessee Titans. Mark, maybe it's the money. Maybe at the end of the day, the money is a louder statement than the ring.
You mean you don't think that the Tennessee Titans have a good shot to win the Super Bowl in the AFC?
I think they have.
You don't think that they're a betting favorite now with D-Hop?
I think they now have a chance to win the South.
I agree with that.
I will say, I think we now can take declaring the Jaguars the AFC South champions. We can take that back. We can at least let them play out a good chunk of this season. 2 years, $26 million for D-Hop. Apparently, there's an additional $6 million in incentives. So he's making 13 per, and he can make 16 per. The word was the likes of the Bills and the Chiefs were offering around 8. Tennessee outbid New England for D-Hop services. Speaking of the Jags, they signed their tight end, Evan Ingram. So he doesn't play this season on the tag. 3 years, a little less than 14 a year. He got paid.
Yes, he did.
3 years for 41 and change. There are 3 guys left who have until 4 o'clock today to work out a deal with their team, or else the team cannot sign them to a long-term deal till after the season. And they're all running backs. The Giants, Saquon Barkley, the Cowboys, Tony Pollard, and the Raiders, Josh Jacobs. So what are we looking at here? A little over 9 hours. Cowboys apparently not interested in negotiating with Pollard at all. Apparently the Raiders and Giants have offers on the table to Jacobs and Saquon. I will say this. While I think the Giants' offer is enough per year, it reportedly, Mark, did you hear the guarantee money the Giants are offering? The Giants are offering a 3-year deal with an option or a 4-year deal, and they're offering 13 and change per year. But they're only guaranteeing 1.5 years. They're guaranteeing $19.5 million. Basically, if we sign you and you blow out your knee this year, we're going to cut you and take a $6+ million cap hit in 2024 and move on. And Saquon's like, yeah, I don't think so. I got to admit, I'm on Saquon's side in this respect. The tag this year is 10.1. That's fully guaranteed. If they have to tag him again, it's 12.1. So that's 22.2 million fully guaranteed if they go tag. Don't you at least have to offer him 22.2 guaranteed?
David, 100%. And that's why, Saquon put out the tweets that the Giants were lying about the offers, because they were. When they start, They weren't, but they were lying about the guaranteed money.
Well, see, what the Giants are saying, we weren't lying. We said we offered you 13 to 14 million a year. We didn't talk anything about guaranteed money. We just told you what we offered you. You stay healthy, you play well, you'll get paid.
I understand, but Saquon was made to look like the bad guy, and that's now coming out that he really wasn't the bad guy in this.
So 4:00 today, we'll see. Baseball. Rays took 2 out of 3 for the Royals, albeit they lost yesterday 8-4. Did you see how long this game took?
2 days.
An hour and 54 minutes. How about that?
Well, you throw a couple-hour rain delay in there, they got this sucker moving along.
It's as if they actually had flights to catch, like they're flying a commercial or
Right.
something. We got to go. What do you mean we got to go? We got to go. We got a 6:13 out of Kansas City to Dallas. We got to go. It's the last one of the day. Hour and 54 minutes in a game that was 8-4, not 1-0. I'm impressed. Rays leads down to a game in the East. And in fact, Baltimore leads in the loss column. Orioles swept the 3-game series for the Marlins, winning yesterday 5-4. Marlins scored 4 in the 9th and had a rise at the plate as the winning run with the tying run on second, and he lined out to end the game. Arise went 0 for 5. He's hitting .380. Slacker.
Big slump.
Marlins go to St. Louis. Rays go to Texas. Toronto swept the Diamondbacks 7-5. Toronto's the 5 seed. Diamondbacks fall all the way to the 6 seed, a half a game ahead of the Phillies. Phillies took 3 out of 4 from the Padres. They won yesterday 7-6-12. The Yankees lost 2 out of 3 to the Rockies. That's not good. They gave up 3 in the 11th. Alex Trejo with a game-winning homer. 8-7 Colorado in 11. Yankees are tied for last. 2 out of the playoffs with the Red Sox, who took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. They hit 3 homers, 11-5 the final Boston. You know, the Reds had that great run to take a 2-game lead in the Central, heading into the series before the All-Star break. They had a 3-gamer in Milwaukee, and then they had a 3-gamer at home with Milwaukee. 6 games, Mark. Do you know how many of them they won? 1. Lost 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee. Got swept at home this weekend. Brewers 4-3 on Sunday. The Brew Crew suddenly have a 2-game lead in the Central over the Reds.
Well, the Reds, who score all kinds of runs, couldn't score any runs over the weekend. They got shut out twice and lost, 4-3 yesterday?
Mm-hmm. Giants doubled up Pittsburgh 8-4-10. It's a sweep for the Giants. They've won a bunch in a row. Do you know the Giants are now in second in the West, just a game and a half behind the Dodgers, who lost to the Mets 2-1-10. Granted, LA took 2 out of 3 in the series. Mets with the win snap a 4-game skid. Braves lost the series at home to the White Sox. You don't think they mailed one in coming out of the All-Star break? You don't think maybe they took a look at the standings and realized that there was an X already next to their name for clinch the division and played like it, do you? Yesterday was the first time in 29 games that the Braves did not hit a homer. They had hit a homer in 28 consecutive games before losing 8-1 yesterday. Texas scored 4 in the 8th to sweep the Guardians 6-5. Wild game in Anaheim last night. It was Sunday Night Baseball. Don't know how many of you watched. So the Angels had a 7-5 lead going to the 9th. 7-6, 2 out, 1 on. Bregman homers, 8-7 Astros. Next guy up, Kyle Tucker, homers, 9-7. Turned out to be a key hit because Ohtani, second batter of the 9th, homers to center field, his 34th homer of the year. He leads all of baseball, by the way. 9-8. Then the Angels, 2 on, 2 out, liner in the gap in right center field. That guy Kyle Tucker comes out of nowhere, makes a diving catch, saves the day for Houston. 9-8 your final. They took 2 out of 3 in the series.
And saves the day for baseball because every Angels loss between now and next week is a better chance of them trading Ohtani.
Houston 3 behind Texas in the West. They are the 6th seed right now in the American League, 2 games ahead of both the Yankees and Red Sox for the final playoff spot. Seattle avoided a sweep at home against Detroit by winning 2-0. Mariners are 500. Twins have a 2.5-game lead in the Central suddenly. They swept Oakland 5-4. Alex Kirilloff with a homer and 4 RBIs. Cardinals looking for guys to trade. How about pitcher Jack Flaherty? He won his 4th straight start. 8-4 St. Louis over Washington. NBA, Phoenix has been active, Mark. They signed Bol after the Magic released him. They also sent Cameron Payne to the Spurs and acquired 3 second-round picks from Orlando as they swapped out another first-round pick. They have none of their own first-round picks for the rest of the decade. Summer League final tonight, Mark. Boy, I hope Felipe can stay home and watch this major sporting event, Cleveland against Houston. LeBron has announced he's going to switch back to number 23. He wore number 6 last year, which is the number that he wore in LA in honor of Bill Russell. But now that it's been a year, he's going to go back to wearing 23. The league retired the number 6. NHL, the Lightning and restricted free agent forward Tanner, I think it's Janot, maybe it's Janot. Anyway, 2 years, around $5.5 million. He did not do much for them after they acquired him from Nashville, and they gave up a player and 5 draft picks to get him. So I hope he does something. He's a rugged winger. They could use him. Messi got introduced before a sold-out, soaked crowd in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know when his debut is. I think it's near the end of the week.
Everybody had public subs after, and everybody was happy.
In the pouring rain, too.
It was lightning. It was delayed over 2 hours. The owner of Inter Miami CF referred to it as holy water. I take it easy now. Ex-nay, breathe. Gold Cup, Mexico scored late to beat Panama 1-0. NASCAR, rain in New Hampshire. They'll race today at noon. Ross Chastain is a new sponsor. Busch Light leaving Kevin Harvick because he's retiring. And they're throwing their money at the Melon Man. As we approach 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
That's a big deal in NASCAR. That's one of those sponsors. They've been a sponsor for over 40 years. They got their name on the pole. And so that's considered a big deal for both Ross and Trackhouse Racing, that of all the sponsors, they picked him.
Looks good on a car, too.
Yes, it does.
It really does.
Yep.
Busch Light, better than Busch Beer.
Both of them on a scale of 1 to 10, about a 2.4.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just worked with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I will say, though, Sled Puppy, apparently Clay Thompson, Steph's partner in that match, was awful. But no, he's not a pro golfer. No.
He got to play in a Corn Ferry event, and he missed the cut. He shot 74-74, which I think is incredibly impressive.
Yes.
For an amateur to go out and play that well in tournament conditions.
In fact, he plays that Corn Ferry event every year. I don't think he's made the cut once, but he keeps shooting like, mid 70s, trying. I booked Murschel because UCF made a big deal about Big 12 Media Days last week. Like they brought a lot of people. They were excited that the media that covered Big 12 Media Days was like, UCF is maybe more fired up to be in this conference than anyone else in the conference. Yeah, Ambien, usually par is 72, sometimes 71. So, yeah, that's close to even par, which is impressive. Oh, yeah, Sled. We all know that. Never mind their handicaps from the tees they play in, and it's hardly ever the back. So that unseeded woman that Pagula had down 4-1 in the third ends up winning Wimbledon.
Right.
You got anything here? Because I got something if you want it.
The only thing I saw, did you happen to see the article in The Athletic about redoing all the, it might be more of a Tuesday, Wednesday, but it said, what should college football conferences look like? The case for common sense and realignment.
Oh, please.
He's got the Big Nine. First off, I mean, put South Carolina in the ACC, puts Georgia Tech in the SEC, puts Maryland back in the, it's
right. Remember, South Carolina used to be in the ACC back in the day.
Maryland's back in the ACC. Rutgers is in the ACC. He's got the Big East back. The Southwest Conference is back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. The magic numbers being 40, 45, and 52 to the football season of your choosing begins. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We'll go live across the pond in a little over 35 minutes. Bob Harig covers golf for Sports Illustrated. They've got this little shindig this week. It's called the Open Championship. Rory McIlroy, who just won the Scottish Open, won the Open the last time it was played here. It's also the last time he won a major. Although, actually, no, technically he won a month later. He won the PGA because the PGA was in August back then, but you get the idea. So we'll talk to Bob Harig about where golf is right now, which is exciting and messy all at the same time. And we don't mean Lionel. So I got a list for you.
All right.
And I want you to tell me who you're going to take off the list. It's the list of NFL teams that have not won a playoff game in 5 or more years.
And I'm going to take off who's going to win one this year. Is that where you're coming at me with?
Exactly. One of these teams, in theory, one of them is going to win a playoff game. Like last year, the Giants hadn't won a playoff game in 11 years. Giants took themselves off this list. Will there be a team that removes themselves from this list? You know, Jacksonville hadn't won a playoff game in 5 years until they beat the Chargers last year. Okay. The longest playoff drought is the Lions. 91. George Herbert Walker Bush was the president. The last time the Lions won a playoff game, January of 92. The Dolphins have the second longest playoff win drought in the league. Bill Clinton was in the final days of his administration. It was either like December 31st or the first couple days of January of 2000, heading into 01. Okay. The Raiders.
Wait a minute. When were you born, Felipe?
Where or when?
Year. The year
2000,
you were born.
2000.
So the Dolphins have not won a playoff game in your lifetime.
No, we've gone over this.
No,
yeah.
Wow.
And they've been to 2 or 3 games total, I believe.
Correct. I mean, technically we count because the Dolphins went to the playoffs in 01, I believe, and got beat by the Ravens. Okay. But anyway, Dolphins. The Raiders, who have not won a playoff game since they won the AFC Championship in the 2002 season. So it's 20 years plus since the Raiders have won a playoff game. The Commanders, the Jets, the Bears, the Panthers, the Cardinals, who haven't won a playoff game since 2015, the Broncos, who have not won a playoff game since 2015, since they won the Super Bowl. The Steelers are on the list. I believe the 2017 season is the last time the Steelers won a playoff game. the Falcons, the Patriots, the Chargers, and the Colts. 14 teams, Mark. Damn near half the league has a playoff victory drought of 5 years or more.
Well, you look at that list, and the Lions, the Dolphins, and the Jets are three teams that people are all picking for the playoffs this year.
Not everybody, but a
decent
lot of
amount.
people are, yes.
And I would say
right.
after that, the Chargers would probably be the next team that's going to get some love of having a shot, a decent shot at the postseason. And then maybe the Broncos if we think Sean Payton's going to turn Russ around. Is there anybody on that list? Did I miss someone that you think's a playoff team?
Steelers, but that's me.
That's
you. I've been high on the Steelers. I've liked their offseason. I like the way they finished last year. All right. I think their defense will clearly be top 5 in the league. And I think they've got a wide receiver, a tight end, a running back, and a developing quarterback. So I think there's real potential with the Steelers and a softer schedule than a year ago.
So out of those 6, then, if we're going to throw the Steelers on there, who's the most likely to get a playoff win?
Right. It's not a playoff spot. It's a playoff win. I think I'm betting the Lions. Because I think they're going to win the North. That's going to give them a home playoff game. By the way, did you see the analytic that came out over the weekend in which they're ranking home field advantage in the NFL? And they document what we've been talking about for a few years now, that it basically doesn't exist.
Okay.
But based on like what your point spread was, or you're expected to win by a certain amount or lose by a certain amount, they figure out the toughest places to play in the NFL. And apparently Ford Field's been the 3rd toughest place to play. Which makes
when
no
you think
sense
home
to
field
me.
advantage, you think the Detroit Lions.
Right. But yes, I'm going there. I am going there. I am going the Detroit Lions. 32 years. Yes, I say the playoff victory drought ends.
How many of those teams made the playoffs a year ago that are on that list? The Dolphins.
Right.
Anyone else? Anyone else on that list even make the postseason last year?
The Chargers. Dolphins and Chargers made the list. Right. Steelers had a winning record, missed the playoffs. Lions had a winning record, missed the playoffs. Commanders were 500 and missed the playoffs. Jets won 7 games and added Aaron Rodgers. Bit of an upgrade at quarterback. And since the Panthers and Falcons are on the list, I can just say, well, the team that won the division lost Tom Brady.
Someone's going to get a home playoff game in that division, David.
Well, the 8-9 Bucks did last year. Over under right now, NFC South champion, 8.5 wins. Where are you putting your money? 8.5.
Over?
Whoa! I'll take the under.
I just don't think it happens 2 years in a row. I think someone gets out of the way of everyone else in the division and puts up a 4-2,
5-1 in the division,
divisional record, and can squawk their way to 9 wins somehow, some way. I'm really betting on just a little bit better than mediocrity, David.
So we'll say it again. Lions, Dolphins. This is from longest playoff victory drought to least. Lions, Dolphins, Raiders, Commanders, Jets. Jets haven't won a playoff game since Rex Ryan, 2010 season. Bears, Panthers, Cardinals, Broncos, Steelers, Falcons, Patriots. How about that?
Yeah, that one did kind of hit me. But David, the team I'm going to pick, and I'm surprised. I understand why you picked the Lions. I get it. It makes sense. It's the NFC. They're expected to win the division. They'll get a home game. But David, if we've learned anything this year at all, that this is the year and the season of South Florida.
Damn right.
And we're not talking titles.
No, we're not winning
deep
championships.
Playoff runs.
Right.
In order to not win a championship.
Correct.
And based on all of that, I will take the Miami Dolphins to win a playoff game.
So following in the footsteps of FAU and Miami men's basketball,
the Florida Panthers, the Miami Heat, and right now the wild card Marlins, David.
So Mark putting his money behind Tua. Well, then you got to go over on the 13.5. How many games is Tua going to play? That's our over-under on Tua. How many? 17 games, obviously. Is he going to miss, 4 or more? I will say this, and I believe this with, all of my whatever. I do think whoever makes the playoffs in the AFC can go to at least the AFC Championship game. I really believe that. That conference is so deep and so loaded. I do not think there's going to be a weak 7 seed. The record may not be gaudy. I don't think the 7 seed will get in any better than 10-7. But I think if you get in the AFC, you can beat anybody.
I almost want Felipe just to timestamp that statement, because that will come back and haunt you, because there's going to be a 7 seed that doesn't deserve somehow, some way, someone's getting in that we're not expecting. And I'm going to look back at you and say, David, does Tennessee have a chance in the playoffs? And you go, no, they don't have a chance to get the AFC Championship. I know what you're saying now, but when the season plays out, there will be an anomaly that makes the playoffs in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm counting on the Jags. I'm counting on the Jags being a team, winning the South, being a team, being an 11-plus win team, being the salty 4 seed. You don't want to go to Jacksonville. They're tough. I don't know if anybody in Jacksonville talks like that, but
you live there. You should know.
Well,
you've not run into that person yet?
I know 3 people. I've been here 10 months. I know 3 people. So, and I've met anybody.
And the third you just ran into who waited on you the other day.
Right. And he didn't talk like that. So I don't know where that voice came from. So there's your list, ladies and gentlemen. You decide for yourself amongst those 14 teams, which ones end in the drought, or do we just take that list and re-rack it next year?
21,000 is the text line. Who do you pick to end their playoff run? Bob Harig to talk the Open Championship in 25 minutes. Right here. Miller and Moulton. Where else but the Florida Sports Network?
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambien, you're shocked? Shocked. Not surprised, shocked. So basically, you're betting money on the Jets, is what you're saying. Ambien, I think you could be a really good team and get knocked out in the first round of the AFC playoffs.
Ask the Chargers.
Well,
that would qualify them being a really good team.
They're a talented mess of a team, but listen, I mean, hell, the Bills nearly got beat in the first round last year by a third-string quarterback. I mean, would it really shock you? I mean, we all know what the matchups could be. How the Bengals were lucky to beat the Ravens last year with a backup quarterback who fumbled on the goal line going in for the go-ahead score. Right, DC. That's why I went Lions. I do think they're going to win the North.
That's the smart pick. I just did mine based on your
totally. The
philosophy
theory
is Miami.
Yeah.
You had your own theory that built all up for you to pick the Dolphins, and you didn't pick them.
No, because I like the Lions more. First off, because I feel good that the Lions are going to make the playoffs. I mean, the first thing you got to do is make it.
Yeah. No. I'm with you.
Oh. So I still have my electricity issues, and apparently they've now gone, through the whole checklist but one. So we're down to the very last thing, which is one of the 4 wires that connects to the meter into our condo. And of course, we're on the 3rd floor. So we got about 100 feet of wire here. So at $200 an hour, they're checking that wire today.
Oh boy.
So Friday cost me about $1,200, and
no answers.
We were able to narrow down what the problem wasn't. All the 23 other condos in this building are fine, by the way, and nobody's got any problems. Everything's good. Yep.
Oh, I feel a little sorry for your wife.
I can't say a word. She picked out the condo.
Yeah, I know. That's why I feel a little sorry for her.
I can't. Why? I must admit, I believe I've withheld the.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great weekend, and thanks for starting your week off with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bob Harig, a little more than 15 minutes time. He's live from the Open Championship. Covers golf for Sports Illustrated. We'll look ahead. We'll have some fun with Bob, who's been very good to us over the years. Of course, it's midday out there. I mean, you know, he's probably already had lunch by the time we talked to him. Made me hungry just thinking about it.
Well, that's good because you make me hungry every break when you're mowing down food on the other side of the camera. And I know you have to eat. You take pills. I get it. I don't care. I don't care why you have to eat. It's that I sit here in a studio slurping coffee while I watch you consuming anything within arm's reach between 5:42 and 6:58.
It's the noise every day.
Every day.
But it's only during the baseball hour. I mean, you must admit, I very rarely eat outside of the baseball hour.
I had you ending at 6:58.
Yes, no, I just wanted to point that out, though. There are, you know, a decent number of people who do not get up for us in the baseball hour, which is what the 6 a.m. hour was dubbed by Mark, going back to our second act about 4 or 5 years ago. We're already in our third act. Over under on acts at 3.5, by the way.
Moulton's going under. I always go over.
I know you do. It's just remarkable.
I'm a glutton.
You keep winning this bet. So, you know, when I was in the studio with you guys last week on Thursday and Friday, did I eat?
Yes.
I had what, one banana? I think I showed up with a banana.
One morning. You knocked out. When you went to the second on whatever day it was, I went, look at that. He's doubling up on the bananas.
Well, it was $2 for $1. Literally. I grabbed the one, and, you know, she guilted me behind the counter. She goes, you know, they're $2 for $1. And I said, yeah, I only want one. She goes, that's 89 cents.
11 cents for another banana?
Exactly. Right. So that's why. But the next morning I held firm. I'm like, no, I just want the one.
You were fasting. I held firm, he says. The doctor told you couldn't eat.
Well, there was that. Whatever. Just take the damn exam. I'm paying for it. All right. Who cares if I've eaten, not eaten, whatever. I light up, don't light up. Here, take my MasterCard, will you? I'm paying for it. Just give me the exam.
What are you, Justin Rose over there paying with MasterCard? I didn't even know they still had those out there.
They really do. They really do. You know, I got rejected for a credit card in line at a department store the other day.
How?
I know. You sold our house a year ago. You know what our credit is. You know I don't have any money. I got credit. My credit score is amazing. That's what I said to him.
You finally capped out on how many credit cards you can have? 47's too many?
Well, yeah, I got $100 off, supposedly, if I signed up for the department store credit card. I said, sure, I'll save $100. All right. It go through the rigmarole and what have you. And they go, you've been rejected. I go, that's impossible. I literally took out my wallet. And of course, we know the size of my wallet. Okay. And I'm like, and I'd start throwing credit cards down on the counter. I go, by the way, the balance on all of them, 0. I go, honestly, this is impossible. I wanted to take the stuff back. If I wasn't shopping with my wife, I would have returned everything and walked out. Wouldn't have purchased a thing. How dare you reject me? I don't have any
That
money.
is a son of a gun, too. I mean, you go, here's the cashier who gets the extra perk for signing. I mean, she's getting $20 for signing you up.
Totally.
She's
I
winning
want
on
her.
this deal.
I want her to get the $20. I want to save my money. I want to make her money. I'm sorry you've been rejected. That's impossible.
There is a point when you can have too many credit cards, David.
Whatever. If the balance is 0, how can you have too many?
It's a ratio, David. You apparently got too high on the ratio.
I thought whatever times 0 is 0. What? That's how I learned math.
I understand that. But they don't necessarily always take the balance into account. They take the credit limit into account.
In theory,
and when your credit limit's $2 million and you only make 87 cents a year, at some point they stop you.
That's why I have those cards, because I don't make any money in case of emergency. I got to pay for stuff.
Felipe, how many credit cards do you have?
Just one.
Is it yours and yours solely?
It's not mine solely.
Still have that. Now, do you have to have permission to use? Because my son, who's a little bit older than you, he still has one of my credit cards in case of emergency. He's got a credit card of his own, but he has one in case it hits the fan that dad can bail him out.
It's kind of the same situation.
Do you have to ask permission?
I'll let him know. Hey, by the way.
When's the last time you used it?
Saturday.
You ever snuck out and bought the girlfriend a dinner on it and said, I used dad's credit card?
No.
Wow.
I'm proud of you.
Good job by you.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Florida Sports Network check on that.
Well, that's why we asked if you'd ever used the credit card.
I mean,
have to sign up.
She's going to get sick of fast food after a while, Felipe.
I'm going to say. I mean, you can only go to Chipotle so many times.
But you're going to that's still gourmet. All right, Felipe, play of the day. What do you got for us? It's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K.
So the Rockies, they won a very dramatic game in extra innings at home against the Yankees. This is what it sounded like from the Rockies radio network.
Third baseman Peraza in the ninth inning, and he drives it to left. His first home run of the year is a walk-off. Touch of all time. Alan Trejo. The comeback kids pull the improbable. Oh, you gotta love a young man who has worked so hard, Alan Trejo. He gets the walk-off knock. And all the Yankee fans go home unhappy.
So, off, very dramatic. The Rockies scored 3 in the 11th inning. It was incredible, but it was a rough day for the Yes Network's John Flaherty, who in the game-tying 2-run home run in the 11th had this to say as soon as the ball made contact with the bat.
Popped up. More than popped up as that ball is driven the other way for a 2-run shot.
That ball 150 feet popped up. A little more than popped up, actually.
Oops.
Then for the walk-off. Oh, this is just a tremendous jinx.
Trejo, 120 at-bats, does not have a home run this year. Until now. A game-winning walk-off home run from Alan Trejo. And the Rockies win this one 8-7.
All right, let's get to that first call again where he said the comeback kids. The Colorado Rockies have the worst record in the National League right now.
Right. I know, the comeback kids. I'm like,
they have the worst record in the National League.
Who's he talking about? Mahomes and the Chiefs? I mean, what, the comeback kids. The 2023 Rockies, not the 07 Rockies. My goodness.
That's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K. Check them out wherever you buy your vodka.
Yanks are 2 out of the playoffs. We thought about a poll question in which we were going to ask you, who do you think is going to win the AL East? Tampa Bay, Baltimore. We were even willing to put Toronto on the list because they're hot and they're talented. And they spend money and will probably make at least one move between now and the deadline. But we were going to have a poll question. Who do you think is going to win the AL East? And not include either the Yankees or Red Sox in the poll question. That's what kind of a baseball season we're having.
They're both 9 back. The Yankees and Red Sox, for what it's worth.
And both 2 out of the playoffs right now, tied for last.
Miller and Moulton. We'll go from the play of the day and a little baseball to talk golf with Bob Harig across the pond. That's next on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambient. Rizzo hasn't hit a homer since like mid-May. I mean, this is remarkable. He had like 11 homers in the first 6 weeks of the season. He has not homered since. And Canada Relief, I have not watched many of the sports docuseries on Netflix. That's on me.
I watch all the quarterbacks, but I think it's way too many wives. I've watched 2 episodes, and I don't think it's that good.
I will say those that have watched all of it rave by the end of it about Cousins. And
okay, I only saw one person that watched all of it, and he didn't rave about it. Like Ben Voline, who've had on from the
Ben Volen, yeah.
Poland. He was just like very underwhelmed with
Okay.
And that's 2 episodes. That's how I feel. Bro Bible's reporting that the NCAA reports 175 violations, 17 active investigations into sports gambling.
You know, we have to talk about that. We'll have a short segment next hour without a guest. Tennessee's penalty, which came down on Friday.
Right.
Did you hear Kirk Cousins' line, by the way, about his critics?
No.
He said, the way my critics think about me, if I walked on water, they would say, yeah, but it's because he can't swim. That's pretty good.
Okay, music. That's what I got out of it too. It's like I thought it was enjoyable, but it's not. I didn't learn anything. I think that's a great. I think you know. And again, I've only watched 2. The second one is a game where Cousins just gets destroyed too. Average Vikings fans, there's no way he can win you over unless he wins a Super Bowl. You hate the guy. You've been on here long enough that we know that.
Do we have Bob?
Yep. Yes.
Awesome.
Average Viking fan. He said, "I love this quote by Margaret Thatcher." So it was him quoting a Margaret Thatcher quote,
which does make him seem learned and well read.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Matt Murschel will join us at the top of the hour. UCF went all out last week at Big 12 Media Days. This week is SEC Media Days. Next week's Big 10 Media Days. College football season right around the corner. Matt Murschel, Orlando Sentinel, will join us next hour. Blaine Bishop, 1 hour from now after the Titans signed DeAndre Hopkins. But Bob Harig, kind enough to join us once again. And, well, he's not in Florida or Arizona. He's already across the pond at the Open Championship. He's at Hoy Lake. He covers golf for Sports Illustrated. You can follow Bob on Twitter at Bob Harig, Harig. Bob, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. So, what's the course like? What are the conditions like?
Hey, good morning. Well, the course is your typical links, very firm and somewhat brownish, and good bit of wind. We've had some rain and wind already today. We had a lot of wind yesterday, which dried it out a pretty good bit. But then we got this pretty good rainstorm this morning. Right now the sun's out. Pretty much, we can have all 4 seasons in a day. I think. I don't think it'll snow, but it can be quite chilly, and then at times it can get hot. So at the Open, the wide range of tee times also really makes such a big difference, because the weather and the wind can change in an instant, and so I think that's one of the the charms of the tournament, is that you never quite know what you're going to get.
And it looks as if, as you said, we're already getting everything that a British Open can offer us on a Monday. Hopefully the weather will stay similar through the week because I think it definitely adds to this tournament. I know they made a few changes. 17's different than it was last time. Talk about the par 3 and if you think that's going to be a factor this year in the tournament.
No, my sense that change to the 17th is more of a big deal to the everyday player than it is to the pros. Sounds like the green has been raised a pretty good bit. Obviously, that can lead to some issues if you miss it, and for you and me and the regular golfers, I think it makes it harder. You know, it sounds like there's been some grumbling locally about the change to the 17th. I'm not sure how much it's going to impact the top players in the world. You know, they'll have their challenges just in general with weather and things like that. The 18th is a unique hole. It's got on course out of bounds, or in course out of bounds to the right off the tee, even though to the right of the hole is not the boundary of the course. That's always an odd thing in the game when that happens. Typically, out of bounds means you're off the property, and at open venues that happens once in a while. There, they've got a bunch of corporate hospitality to the right, and there is kind of like what we used to be an old wall, and they've brought this out a little closer to the fairway. I think there's a chance it can be a little bit more in play, although there's plenty of room to the left. The course, I don't think it ranks up there among the greatest of the 10 that they now use, but it's got a lot of great history. I mean, Rory won here the last time, Tiger before that. Bobby Jones won here on his way to the Grand Slam in 1930. I think it goes all the way back to 1897 for the first one. I think it's really cool if they can go to a place that held it that long ago.
Carnoustie is often considered the toughest of the rotation. There are others that are pretty short and very dependent on the weather. How do the golfers feel about Hoylake? Do they think it's kind of middle of the road in toughness? We all know it gets very tough if the wind freshens a bit. But, what do they think of Hoylake in terms of if conditions are fairly calm?
Yeah, I think any of these venues except for Carnoustie are pretty vulnerable if the conditions are calm. They typically do not get the greens running at the fastest speeds because they have to be careful of wind. And even though they're firm and fast, guys are gotten good about learning how to hit shots into them and still hold them. If there's no wind, it's a lot easier to hold a shot. And so I would say they consider it, like you said, more middle of the road. I mean, Carnoustie is the top for toughness. I think, Muirfield is probably considered the best of them all, just in terms of a great test of golf. St. Andrews is maybe, the most historic, and it's got so much tradition that it ranks way up there, but it's not particularly difficult. And then, you get this one, you get Royal Birkdale. Troon next year is a great test. We found that Portrush a few years ago was really, really good. It's kind of hard. It's a toss-up. I think a lot of it's personal preference. And, I don't think this is at the bottom of anybody's list, but it's probably not at the top either.
Bob, we have been just amazed at what Scotty Scheffler's done without winning. He's hitting the ball so well. Does he have not an advantage, but the greens that you talked about being a little bit slower, with the fact that he's not putted great this year, does that give him an extra edge maybe in this tournament that he didn't have in other majors?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, I think maybe that helps him a little bit. If you slow it down a little bit and everybody's more the same on the greens, because as you noted, he's been hitting the ball great. I mean, he had another top 10 at the Scottish Open. I've lost track now, but I don't think he's been outside of the top 10 in 2023, or maybe he had an 11th. I mean, it's just been a phenomenal run of golf, and that's probably not been rewarded enough with wins. He won in Phoenix, and he won the Players Championship, and since that time, he's never been outside of the top 10. He's contended several times. This past, Sunday, another example, and yet just not quite there. So I have to believe that one of these days it's all going to come together, and he's probably going to win by about 5. Because it's hard to believe that the way he's hit the ball, he hasn't won a few more times. He was right there at the Memorial. Obviously, he was in the mix at the U.S. Open again. It just seems like every week he's up there.
Well, and the same can be said about Rory, although he's won a few times, and he did so in dramatic fashion yesterday, adding another National Open to his Hall of Fame resume. Do we basically just insert Rory's name in place of Scheffler and everything we said, but the only thing we can also add is, oh, yeah, it's been 9 years since he won a major?
Yeah, I mean, 9 years ago is when he won here, too, to get within a Masters of completing the career Grand Slam. And I think, at that point, and then, of course, after he won here, 2 weeks later, he won the WGC Bridgestone at Firestone. A week later, he won the PGA at Valhalla. He was 25 years old. I don't think there's anybody among us who would have said, yeah, he's done winning majors. 5, 6, 7 were certainly in play at that time. And I mean, you probably wouldn't have been a fool to say, well, why can't he get to 10? And now all this time has gone by, and yet he's not slipped off the perch in terms of one of the top players in the world. I mean, when Tiger went all that time, he fell way off with injuries and stuff. Rory hasn't really done that. For a little while, he fell outside of the top 10. But other than that, he's been still a world-class player for all this time. He's won his share of tournaments. I mean, now he's got 24 PGA Tour wins. There's nobody active on the PGA Tour. I'm considering Tiger not active with more wins. Dustin Johnson, who's not playing the PGA Tour, has 24 also. Rory's probably one of the few guys now who has a chance to get to 30 in their career, which is phenomenal. And Rory can obviously get beyond that. But there's not too many guys who are going to reach those numbers. But yet, for some reason, he's had 19 top 10s in majors, but really it's only been a handful of times that he's contended in the majors since he last won one. Obviously, the U.S. Open this year, last year's Open are two of the prime examples of when he did. Not too many outside of that, and I think it's a good thing that he just won. It takes that little pressure off, and now he returns to a place that obviously he fared well at. So these things can possibly bode well for him.
If this Open is someone's first major, my guess would be Hovland. Who would your guess be?
Yeah, Hovland is a great example, I think, of somebody who's sort of close to winning one of these. Had that nice win at the Memorial. He's played pretty well in the majors. So I like him. I kind of like Ricky Fowler, who's turned it around now here. Won a few weeks ago. Had a decent tournament last week in Scotland. It wasn't great over the weekend, but it's been pretty good all year. And I still keep thinking Xander Schauffele is a guy. Schauffele and Cantlay are sort of in the same boat. They're highly ranked players who are very successful, and we see their names up there a lot. And yet neither one has a major.
Bob, is there a different angle or take on the golf world where you are right now than what we all have been saying for the last year plus in the States? Like, have you found yourself in recent days going, they look at this differently? Or is there an issue that they're focused on across the pond that we in the States are not talking about?
Well, I think over here, there's a good amount of distress over the future of the DP World Tour. it's really sort of been lost in the shuffle of this whole thing with the, with the agreement with the Public Investment Fund. I mean, what's it going to mean for them? The European tour has been greatly diminished as it is. And now what's it going to mean? I've found that outside of the U.S. now, there's parts of the U.K. that are not thrilled with the Saudi involvement in golf. That's for sure. But I don't think it's as intense as it is at home. My sense is that the international golf that LIV has been producing has been welcomed. We are spoiled. We get to see these guys. We have gotten to see these guys play. Many of us are, pretty much anybody lives fairly, a decent journey away from being able to attend a PGA Tour event. And the ones that don't LIV has tried to go there. For example, Portland last year. They went to Tulsa this year. They've gone to Tucson, although there's a big tournament in Phoenix. Australia, Singapore, Spain a couple of weeks ago for the LIV event. Those places love it, and so that's where, in terms of looking at it differently from us, I think that's a good example. Like they're sort of welcoming the idea of getting to see some very big games.
He's Bob Harig. He covers golf for Sports Illustrated. He is live at the Open Championship in Hoylake. You can follow Bob on Twitter at Bob Harig, Harig, and obviously read his work all week long at si.com. Bob, I know we say this every time. We are very appreciative of your contributions to our show. You've been great to us over 15 years. Safe travels. Have a great week, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
That sounds great. Appreciate you having me.
Bob Harig, also author of the Tiger Phil book, Golf's Most Interesting Rivalry. So there's that. You going to go first-time major champion here at the Open Championship?
I think it's Scheffler's tournament to win. I really do. He's playing so well, and I think the equalization factor is that these greens won't be as fast as what he's been playing on the PGA Tour. I think he'll make a few more putts this week. Tee to green, there's nobody better than Scottie Scheffler. I think he wins the Open. Not going on any sort of limb there. He's the favorite, for crying out loud.
Is he the favorite? It's not Rory?
I think Rory's the favorite, and he's right behind him.
Okay. All right. So in other words, like we all know who the top 5, 6 guys that would be on there. If I gave you the board, if I gave you the first page of the betting leaderboard or the field, who would you take?
Oh, the first page of the betting leaderboard.
Okay. All right.
I don't think anybody's coming from the
right,
like to win this tournament.
Like when Cam Smith won it last year, he was top 3 player in the world. He had finished he had won the Players. He had finished, he was in the final group at the Masters, finished 3rd. I mean, he was having a great year. Shot 63 or 64 on Sunday to catch Rory and pass him. Matt Murschel, we'll talk some college football on the other side. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill, the Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. They never forget a column, David.
Charles Schwartzel is not winning the Masters. That's when you learn how to qualify things. I was just trying to be a smartass. Ooh. By the way, JP's there. Our buddy JP Shadrick.
At the Open?
And he's got tickets for the final 2 rounds. Oh, Adam, I don't know if it'll be, quote unquote this year, but it'll be very soon.
Felipe, what does this mean?
On his head. Dunked on his head.
Okay. He didn't.
Yeah, he kind of dunked on his head right there. It was a yam time.
Okay.
I mean, if you posterize someone, it's on his head.
Well, I knew it wasn't a shot clock violation.
Doesn't this mean something in football?
I don't know if that's a legal contact.
I don't know. Oh. I'm calling Matt now.
Well, that would be good. Thank you. Oh, that hurt. I figured we'd just do a shorter segment with Blaine Bishop.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice, halfway home. For those in the 239, we are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We'll head to Nashville, a little over 35 minutes time, because the Titans won the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. Does that make them players with the Jags in the South? Or is this just money that's not going to amount to much? We'll talk to Blaine Bishop, who does Titans games in Nashville and played for him, made many a Pro Bowl for him. We'll talk to him in a little over 35 minutes time. Matt Murschel is kind enough to join us once again. He covers college football and specifically UCF for the Orlando Sentinel. Follow Matt on Twitter, OS Matt Murschel. That's MURSCHEL. Matt, it's David and Mark. Good morning. Thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing this morning?
Well, we're great, although as fired up as we are about life and the pursuit of happiness, I don't think we're half as fired up as UCF is to be in the Big 12. And not only that, you and your paper put out a big, very informative, very well done special section yesterday about their move to the Big 12. I mean, it seems as if, and you were there, that UCF's excitement for the Big 12 caught the Big 12 by surprise.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think the Big 12 officials, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, I mean, all those people understood exactly kind of what they were going to get when they, were bringing on UCF aboard. But, when they had the media days last week, there was so much buzz, so much excitement. The social media part of it was a big piece of it. You saw the reaction, on social media from fans and from everyone here in Orlando, and they were just blown away by it. And I think they understood exactly how now what they were getting and bringing aboard this school and this fan base, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of excitement going into it, but after being for 2 days in Dallas, surrounded by a lot of the Big 12 teams. Everyone I spoke with was just saying, listen, this is exciting. This is great. We're looking forward to bringing this aboard, and we're looking forward to carrying this out throughout the next, this season and for the future.
How hard is it going to be for UCF? How, they've made some inroads on recruiting, but this is a step up. This is clearly a step up to the Big 12. How difficult is this going to be?
There's going to be an adjustment period for sure. I mean, listen, we spoke with Gus Malzahn several times during the 2 days. And one of the things Gus pointed out was the challenge is going to be travel, right off the bat. He said, listen, there's going to be some things that come with the travel that we're going to have to learn and adjust and deal with. And, there's going to be moments where, you have, night games on a Saturday night that, we won't get back to Orlando, he said, till probably sunrise. And that's a little bit unusual for them. They haven't had to deal with that kind of thing. So, they're going to have to find a way to adjust to that, to adapt. They're going to have to switch their schedule around. He said, listen, if we don't come back till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, that changes how you prepare during the week for the upcoming game, because you're not going to be able to have the players hit the practice field in a couple hours. You're not going to be able to kind of do the things you normally would do on a Sunday. So that's going to change a little bit. And also, too, like you mentioned, I think, there's a different level of talent there at some places. There's also going to be a different level, of expectations. And again, depth is going to be a crucial part of what this UCF football team is going to need to make sure they have enough of, when they hit the road, because you're going to, as the season goes on, you're going to have guys that get banged up. You're going to need guys who are going to be able to step in. You're going to need your two deep players are going to have to be prepared to step in and take some snaps here or there. And those are all things that, they've sort of kind of tried to work on over the last couple of years, but they won't really get their first taste of it until this year.
Matt, as you have documented UCF's football journey, one of the most unique in the history of the sport. They've literally played at every level that you can seemingly play at. Well, now they're at the Power 5 conference level. They've had success at just about every other level that they've played at. Do you think, and obviously I'm not talking 2025, don't even know if I'm talking 2030, but do you think UCF can have the success, the seasons that they've had in the past eventually in their new home?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that this is a program that has learned to adapt, that has learned to have, like you mentioned, to have that success. Go back to the last 10 years of this program. When they first joined the American, there were some people who thought, okay, now we're getting up there again. Now we're getting up, higher level. What's going to happen there? And they almost had immediate success outside of the first season. They started to have that immediate success. They went to the Fiesta Bowl in 2013. They beat a Baylor team that was ranked 7th in the country, had one of the best offenses in the country. UCF beat them, pretty handedly at that point. A couple of years later in 2017, UCF goes undefeated and they beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl. And then that rolls into a 25-game win streak going into 2018, and they go undefeated through the regular season in 2018. And you could argue that if Mackenzie Milton doesn't get hurt at the end of 2018, that maybe they end up winning, in the Fiesta Bowl that year against an LSU team that went on the next year to win, the win it all, national championship. So there's just been this success stretch, for quite some time here now. And I think, again, it's going to take some adjustment period for the first couple of years for UCF to get there. But they brought in a coach smartly in Gus Malzahn. He's had experience at the SEC level. He's done a great job of recruiting guys who can play at the Power 5 level now. He's got out and got transfers who can play at the Power 5 level, who have played at the Power 5 level. So they're building the roster the right way. They're the most experienced roster of the 4 teams coming in now. So I think that's going to help them out. Plus the fact they're putting in financial commitments to resources around the campus. You look at what Orlando is going to be like. They've done a great job of recruiting here in the state. It's against some of the big boys in Florida State, and in Miami. If they can continue to do that, I think you're going to see success on the field. And there's a history to this too. There's a little bit of, look at what TCU did in the Big 12. It took them a little bit, but TCU found success. Those are programs that are very similar to what UCF was went through. So I think the blueprint is there. I think that UCF knows what it needs to do. It's just going to take a little bit of time, and eventually they'll be right on top.
I'm with you 100% that it's going to take a little bit of time, but we all know that fans don't have a lot of patience. So what is the bar for this year? To me, this is a year that has to be a bowl game, and I don't think it has to be much more than that. Matt, what do you think this year has to be?
Well, yeah, I would agree. I think a bowl game. I know that they're picked to finish 8th, by the media in the preseason poll, and I think a lot of people thought, okay, well that seems about right. I think I had them 7th in my preseason poll. I mean, again, I think 7 and 5, 8 and 4 is probably right to me. Is the 8 and 4 is probably the ceiling for this team this year. But that being said, there are games where I think they could surprise some people. Maybe they flip a game that they weren't supposed to win. But I definitely believe a bowl game is something that they can achieve to get this year. They have enough players, enough talent, like I mentioned, coming back. If John Rice Plumlee is healthy at quarterback, if he remains healthy all season long, he's going to be the catalyst that drives this engine of offense for them. They're going to put up some points. But the challenge for them, like I said, is going on the road and facing some teams that maybe you're not used to facing. They're going to have to go to Kansas. They're going to have to go to Kansas State. They play Baylor. Kansas State and Baylor both won the Big 12 title, in consecutive years. So they're facing 2 good programs. They got to go to Lubbock and face a Texas Tech team that's improving. They go to Oklahoma for the first time. So I think there's opportunities to get some wins here or there. So I think I'm with you. I think a bowl game is definitely, within their grasp. And I think maybe, like I said, if they get to 8 and 4, I think that's an outstanding year. I think if they can finish in the top 5, that would be an outstanding year for them as well.
I was just listening to the programs that you were mentioning. Does the fan base still want to play South Florida? Or do they look at their, distant relative and be like, nope, we've left you behind. We are done with you. Or listen, come on, rivals are rivals. I mean, isn't this your Florida State game? You know what I mean? If you're the Gators, I mean, I'm just wondering, Matt, if I'm a UCF fan, take a couple years off, but I want to resume the I-4 war. Do they?
The general consensus I've had from talking to a lot of fans is they don't care about UCF. UCF is in, USF is in the rear view mirror. Excuse me, is in the rear view mirror. They're moving on. This is the Big 12. They don't care about USF. And I think people have to understand that the history behind these two schools and this rivalry. When the USF was in the Big East and UCF was trying to get into Big East, I think people tend to forget that it was the USF president, Judy Gerhardt, who was the one who kind of put the kibosh on the idea of bringing UCF aboard. And that stuck with a lot of UCF fans. It stuck with a lot of people in the program that, listen, we deserve to be there, and USF tried to keep us out. And eventually UCF got in. And so I think there are a lot of UCF fans who are like, no, we're moving on. This is time to move on. We're going to find someone else. I mean, they feel like, listen, Cincinnati, Houston, West Virginia, maybe one of those East Coast teams, they're probably going to end up being one of their rivals in this. And it's too bad because, again, I think part of what's gone on is because of conference realignment. We're seeing more and more rivalries are kind of going by the wayside because I just think that, because of economics and geography and I think that the schools and their fans are starting to realize, okay, a rivalry doesn't mean nearly as much as it used to mean. And so, you move on and you just see what's next. So just talking to some people at, the Big 12 media days, I mean, there was no discussion of we're eager to see USF back on the schedule. Now, I'm not going to say that's not going to happen. Maybe after USF's non-conference schedule cleans up after about 2030, maybe you could see something kind of be set up and do that. But I also think you have to realize, too, that if you do that game and USF is still in a group of 5 conference like the American, and you beat UCF on a consistent basis a couple of years, that hurts your recruiting model if you're UCF, because you don't necessarily want to keep, you don't want to lose to someone who's in a lower rank. So I think that's something that's going to be considered when they look at that schedule.
He's Matt Murschel. He covers college football as a whole with a focus on UCF for the Orlando Sentinel. You can follow Matt on Twitter, OS Matt Murschel, MURSCHEL. Matt, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it. Hopefully we can talk about midway through camp.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Matt Murschel of the Orlando Sentinel joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
New kids on the block.
They're fired up.
They're fired up, and they should be. And I hate that they're not playing USF. I don't buy into this. I at least take his recruiting reasons as legitimate. Don't give me economics as your reason to play a game. It's going to sell out. You're not going to hurt anything financially by playing USF. But if you want to tell me from a recruiting standpoint that you're afraid, if you lose to them, it's going to hurt you recruiting-wise, okay, I'll buy that one. I hate seeing these rivalry games then, but don't tell me you can find the money. They find money for every damn rivalry game they want to. It's just a matter of putting the two teams together. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So no one won either. Oh, wow. Powerball's almost $1 billion tonight, huh? And we added a Monday drawing because 2 a week weren't enough.
Anybody win the other one?
No, Mega's like 640. You win both of these, you're buying an NHL team.
We win either one of these. All right. The show's over.
Good.
Felipe, you may still have to work, but you may actually be able to afford to live in Southwest Florida, though.
I'll sell you a house.
Right.
Get my broker's license. It'll be Powerball Realty.
Would you still do that? Would you still every 3-4 months when you got a good lead, would you still do it? Or would you be like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not talking about winning the Powerball. I'm talking about you got the, like we talked about the gift that we would give the other.
That's exactly what I'd still do.
Okay.
I'd tell Eve to call today and I'd still do real estate.
You think she'd call it a day, or do you think she'd go down?
Oh, she'd call it a day yesterday.
Okay.
Her job's hard.
Well, and there's an emotional part to it as well.
So how much money am I winning after taxes with this Powerball?
You're to win the Powerball?
Roughly
Like
how much?
$500 million.
Roughly $500 million. Okay.
Well, $500 million one-time buyout, then give half, so $250 million.
So I'm telling my parents to retire.
Well, yeah.
And then I am buying Heat season tickets, Dolphins season tickets, and
it's a great name, Adam. They're good enough just to scare you.
Going to every Messi Inter Miami game I can.
If I won the Powerball, I'd give Felipe at least $500,000.
That was the number I had in my head.
Oh. I'd I'd give Felipe 500,000
Hell yeah.
to get a good start on life. You know, if you wanted to move back to the East Coast or whatever. Tell you what, Felipe, if you're smart, you move in with your parents, grandparents. Just keep saving money. In fact, I would just don't tell them about our gift. Tell them about one of those sons of blankety blanks won the damn thing, and now I'm out of a job. I got to move back home. You could afford your own credit card though.
At that point, yeah.
No.
Would Philly keep the young lady or trade up for the supermodel? God, that's funny.
I think the question is, I think we have to worry about the young lady keeping him. Okay.
The dinner's on me. I know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Chipotle for life.
Yep. May even take it to go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Blaine Bishop, he played for the Titans. He broadcast their games. He will join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. They won the D-Hop sweepstakes. $13 million a year for 2 years. Incentives could make it $16 million. Healthy Tannehill, healthy Derrick Henry. D-Hop on the outside.
30th they were last year in passing yards.
Yep.
30th.
Tannehill missed half the season. They had no wide receivers after trading away A.J. Brown, and the first-round pick from Arkansas was a bust. So, yeah, it was awful. And then Henry got hurt down the stretch, and so, I mean, they were 7-4 and lost out. I mean, the Titans had a stranglehold on that division, remember. But they returned most of the defense. Defense is good. Now, all of a sudden, can you see a path? Remember, a year before, they were the 1 seed. They were the 1 seed in 2021. They were 7-4 last year when the house collapsed. I mean, are they still a good team? Or no. There's nothing but debris everywhere. We can't put this house back together again. We'll talk to Blaine Bishop about it.
They've got a pretty good coach.
Yeah. Right. A division that you want to play in. Thank you very much.
A schedule that's favorable.
Uh-huh. So anyway, Blaine Bishop in about 15 minutes' time. Hey, there was another football story that came out of the state of Tennessee at the very beginning of the weekend. Technically, it was like midday Friday, but we were already off the air. Did you catch what the NCAA handed the University of Tennessee in penalties?
Yeah. They lost some scholarships and a few other things, but they got handed a really big fine, David.
$8 million.
Right.
Now, apparently, they committed about 1,317 violations. I mean, apparently, man, were they cheating. It was a mess. But the one thing they didn't get, Mark, they didn't get any ban. Nobody's banned from nothing. No postseason ban of any kind. Football, basketball, anything. Everybody can still play. And the thought process is, by the way, did you see the story that came out late yesterday about this? Apparently, the Tennessee Attorney General called the NCAA just to add a little bit more pressure on them to make sure that there was not a ban of any kind. Kind of like, listen, I got some friends. We can make your life difficult. That's all I'm saying. All right? I mean, that's how much Tennessee did not want a ban of any kind Even a 1-year bowl ban like this upcoming season. Absolutely. That was unacceptable to Tennessee. And Mark, what a lot of people involved in college athletics now feel is that because the NCAA had, I mean, Mark, in the past, with what Tennessee did wrong, it would have been a multi-year bowl ban, multiple sports. I mean, it would have been ugly. Instead, $8 million fine. We take away wins from 2019 and 2020, which, nobody ever cares about except them. And
yeah, literally, unless you have a coach that has some sort of a record, taking wins away means nothing.
Right. And that coach is the coach who's no longer there and got a 6-year show cause penalty. So people in college athletics now believe, Mark, this is the end of postseason bans.
Good.
That the NCAA is now, and this is the argument that, we and others have had. Because a postseason ban would do what? Punish the kids not involved in the wrongdoing. You're punishing the 2023 team for something that took place pre-pandemic? Really? Well, what'd they do? What'd this coaching staff do? None of them were here. Now, there are a few schools in the last 20 years that are kind of like, can we get banners back? Can we get, and the NCAA is not willing to go there yet.
Well, the NCAA is much like wrestling or NASCAR when it comes to their decision-making on punishment. It's very arbitrary, but I do think the point that you made there, David, is evident based on the monetary fine that they gave Tennessee. I mean, $8 million.
Right. Even to an SEC athletic department, you're like, really?
That's money.
I mean, that's the money we were going to spend to buy out our basketball coach. I guess we got to keep him.
And with that fine, to me, David, they simply said, we're done with, I read it the same way. That I don't know what you have to do now to get a postseason ban.
But apparently you can get fined. And of course, as Hops asked in our Twitch chat room, where's the $8 million go? It's the NCAA. They can do what they want. They're event planners. They can just put it towards their next track and field championship.
A new weight room at the women's NCAA championships.
Yeah, no kidding. That's exactly where the money should go. But $8 million.
You okay with them? You're okay with them basically ending the charade of postseason bans, aren't you?
Mark, if I was Charlie Baker, the brand new president of the NCAA, and I'm not kidding, I would not have said this in the job interview. I would have gotten the job and I would have honked off every single person that hired me. All the banners that have been taken away, I would restore because they look ridiculous in this day and age. Absolutely ridiculous. How far back do we want to go? Want to go back to Michigan's Fab Five teams? Okay, that's what, 92, 93? Where UMass with Marcus Camby, that was 96. Honestly, Kentucky, Louisville, where do we want to go here? Florida State's indoor track and field championship that got taken away from them. Memphis's Final Four appearance in 08. Honestly, line them up for me. I'm restoring them all.
So you'd even restore the ones that had to do with academic violations, which some of these were.
Yes. By the way, USC, I'm restoring their football national championships. The 03 was an AP title, but the 04 was a BCS title. They lost the 04 BCS championship. And I also would pick up the phone and actually call the Heisman people and say, by the way, give Reggie Bush his Heisman back. Okay? I mean, if we're going to take a look at in the grand scheme of things, you took his Heisman away, okay, for something that literally had the University Athletic Department on appeal has been proven they did not know about, for a booster in San Diego that they were unaware of? Really? We lost a national title and he lost a Heisman over this? How ridiculous does the 5-game suspension look from 12 years ago that Ohio State coaches and players got for tattoos off campus? It cost Tressel his job because he lied about tattoos. Don't you wish somebody would have had the foresight to say, Jim, just tell the truth. This is laughable. And if it's not laughable now, trust me, it will be in 3 weeks. Or maybe 3 years, whatever. But I'm telling you, Jim, just tell the truth.
There's one for the annals.
Man.
Got fired over tattoos.
No, I mean, they got them urban and, they've...
No, I know.
They've done pretty well in the last 10 or so years, but I'm just saying. So anyway, that came down out with the trash, Mark. That was another Friday news dump by the NCAA. Blaine Bishop's next.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Thanks, Coach Grizzle.
Where are SEC Media Days still in Hoover?
No, this year they're in Nashville.
Oh, we should have gone. Should have.
Okay.
Next year.
Gary's flying up today. He's going to be there tomorrow.
Is it really?
I think that was a joke. That could be on our show tomorrow. It's going to be on our show either next week or the week after. I was thinking of getting him on after he's gone to both SEC and Big Ten Media Days. But he's lined up on 10 radio shows tomorrow. I know. I lined him up.
Kubelik.
Yeah, McElroy and Kubelik. Okay, he's got 3 mornings, 3 middays, 3 early afternoons. He's on 2 in Atlanta. I took care of our buddy Matt Moscona. I texted him. I said, listen, you've done a lot for us. We've done nothing for you. What time you want Danielson? It's like, really? I go, absolutely. I told Gary. Gary gave me the list of interviews that he wanted to do. I said, you're doing 2 more. I got to take care of some people and take care of us.
Who's the other one?
Abraham. Just being nice.
So you going to call him Gare Dog, or how does...
And I told Gary, I go, the interview is scheduled to start at 1. He won't come out of commercial break till 06.
He'll talk till 10. You'll have
right.
One
Get it to you. Right. But it's our last year. 18th and last year doing the SEC. Well, it'll be 25 minutes. You know, he's got interviews every 30 minutes, 25 minutes. He's got to get to the next table. We good with Blaine?
He's talking to him right now.
All right, good deal.
You're going to do Alabama and Tennessee in Birmingham, aren't you? You'll do the Tennessee game, right?
Tennessee at Alabama, probably.
Blaine is on hold. We got 15 seconds.
Adam, I don't think Auburn's ready yet, but he can coach.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour is up. Blaine Bishop's been kind enough to come on the show before, a former standout safety for the Tennessee Titans. He now covers them for 104.5 in Nashville. You can follow Blaine on Twitter, bbishop23, bbishop23. Blaine, it's David and Mark. First off, thanks for doing this. Secondly, hey, congrats on getting back into high school coaching.
Well, I appreciate it, guys, man. Yeah, it's been a fun little ride to come back. Only my duty to try to give back to the community all the knowledge that was given to me throughout my career and time playing football.
When you heard the news, and obviously it had been out there for a few weeks that the Titans were interested, they had made a good offer, but when you heard the news yesterday that D-Hop accepted going to the Tennessee Titans, what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was they got it done before training camp begins. I was a little curious from Hopkins' point of view, is that he knew the offense with Kelly from the Texans and Vrabel in his relationship. So I thought he wouldn't be in a rush and that he may wait to see if someone got injured on a team that wasn't even in the, I guess, bidding war. and end up slipping away from the Titans. So a little surprised at the same time, excited for Hopkins and the Titans to see what he can do.
Well, what can he do for the Titans? They were 30th in pass offense last year. Obviously, we all know they were banged up all year long. Henry was banged up. There were no receivers. Tannehill was banged up. What does this do for this offense?
Well, I think it gives it credibility in the passing game and respect when you get out on the football field. He's a proven player. He's probably a Hall of Fame player for sure. And so I think that's first and foremost. And then he's going to make it a little bit easier and kind of can be somewhat of a mentor for Burks, who has a lot of talent and still young in his career. And it just kind of opens up the offense. Now I think everybody kind of fits into the roles that they are, instead of kind of elevating them when they're probably not, twos or threes as far as on the depth chart. Now they're more so in their roles that they should fit in, and everybody can complement one another.
Blaine, we don't have to explain to you. We are very much a "what have you done for me lately" society. No place more so than the NFL. A year ago at this time when we spoke, the Titans were coming off being the 1 seed, but a disappointing playoff performance. Now, a year later, a lot of people are pushing the Titans to the side when in reality they were owning that division around Thanksgiving, and then the house collapsed. Do you think the house is repairable? I mean, Henry, Tannehill healthy, add D-Hop. If the wide receiver has some help, maybe he plays up to his draft pick. I mean, can this be a good team again?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The national media, throwing the Titans like they're going to be not very good. I think they're a very competitive team. How competitive? I think they're going to compete for the AFC South. I think that's always the objective, is to win the South. And I think they will be competing with the Jaguars for that title. And then we all know once you get into the playoffs and with the coaching and everything else with the Titans, I think they have a great shot. Mentally tough team. So I think they're competing for the AFC South. I always thought they were a middle road team. I'm not going to say having Hopkins on the team is going to take them over the top, but I can say he may equate to, for sure, one more win, which could then get them into the playoffs.
How are they in the trenches on the offensive side, Blaine? I mean, it's going to come down to how they block for Henry and Tannehill. Are they good enough on the offensive line?
Well, we had one guy, Petit Ferrer, who now is suspended for the gambling policy. So that kind of hurts. And so it'll be interesting to see how they move parts. Do they move 2 guys or just move 1 guy? So getting chemistry on the offensive line, especially in a system like this, when the offensive line is vital, I think is very key to the success of this team, and will determine how successful they will be.
Talking with Blaine Bishop, perennial Pro Bowler for the Tennessee Titans in his day. Now he covers them, 104.5 in Nashville. Follow Blaine on Twitter, the letter B Bishop 23, B Bishop 23. Is it just understood that this is Tannehill's swan song? Is this like Cousins in Minnesota, final year of a contract, and everybody's just going to say, thank you very much for your service and move on? Or do you think he still has a future there?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I would assume that this is his last year, but you just never know because, they should have given him an extension, in my opinion, but they didn't, and they keep drafting quarterbacks. So we all know the writing's on the wall at some point, whether it's this year they give him an extension or next year. So I think he's going to go out with a swan song with a decent wide receiver course. So good luck to him. And whether he's here or not after this season, he should have a successful season if he stays healthy.
And aren't they in a spot where they need to throw it a little bit more? I mean, I know it's Henry's team and they're going to rely on him, but the age is getting there. He's been getting banged up. Is it maybe, I don't know about a different philosophy, but a different approach of maybe trying to spare Henry some of the runs in September so there's a few more left in December, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think the OC Kelly has a lot of, Grable has a lot of faith in him. So I think so. I think they're going to be 50-50 run pass. So I think they have a great shot of looking a little different than they have in the past. And naturally, with Henry in the backfield, you're still going to do some Henry things. But I think they're going to be a little more wide open on offense.
Well, we can hear, I think, practice going on in the background. Listen,
yes,
either of the
today's first 2 days is today.
well, thanks for Thanks for fitting us in. It's got to be nice to be on that side of two-a-days as opposed to all the years you were on the other side. Listen,
Yeah.
these two young quarterbacks shown anything, or is it just too early?
It's a little early. I would say Malik Willis has improved tremendously, and Willis is probably right there, a notch behind him at this point. I mean, Levis is right there behind him. So I would say it's going to be a close race and an interesting race because I don't know if they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks or just 2. So it will determine based off training camp and how they do in preseason.
What's the drill that you used to be able to do that you can no longer have these kids do that you miss?
Oh, there is no drill that I can't do.
No. Drills that you did that they don't let you do anymore, whether it's Oklahoma's, whatever it is. Is there a drill from the day?
The Oklahoma drill for sure because they even call me hitman for nothing. That kind of shows who you are and how tough you are.
Blaine, thanks so much for your time and your insight. Good luck with the coaching gig, continued success covering the Titans, and hopefully we can talk again.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Blaine Bishop.
There's no drill I couldn't do. I didn't mean that, Blaine. I know that.
Made it sound like there's no drill I can't do now.
That's exactly what he said.
Right. No, I could do it now.
Now, today.
It's like, no. Court order. They won't let you do Oklahoma. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we can't do that anymore. Mark, he was a player that I don't know if the rules allow you to have anymore. He was them hard-hitting safeties.
I love it. The cocky DB.
You did not go over the middle against Blaine Bishop and the Titans.
That's why you brought up the Oklahoma. That's why I brought up the Oklahoma drill. He said that's the one I like. That separates the men from the boys right there.
So DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Titans yesterday. They're interesting. Don't know how much damage they can do in the playoffs, but can they get there? Are they the only thing keeping the Jacksonville Jaguars from repeating?
David, they finish at home against Jacksonville. If I were to tell you that January 7th is for the division, would you buy it?
Well, to be brutally honest, if the Jags have to go to Nashville and beat the Titans to win the AFC South, then I think they've screwed this season up. All right. What I'm wondering, Mark, is will Jacksonville have a chance to go to Nashville to clinch the 1 or 2 seed? And I know everybody's losing
the expectations for the
I
Jacksonville
understand,
Jaguars.
but this goes back to, remember, a year ago at this time, who was the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs? It was Tennessee. If you look at divisions and crossover schedules, the AFC South and Jacksonville, almost every hard game they have at home, except for having to play Buffalo and London. They don't play all the games against the first place teams on their schedule, all at home or London. They get the Niners at home, they get the Chiefs at home, they get the Bengals at home, they get the Bills in London.
And look, that's a break because that's actually the Bills' home game. Instead of traveling to Buffalo, you're playing the Bills in London. You're not even sacrificing one of your home games for that.
So, and what could be a break, I mean, let's just say the Titans don't have the season they hope for. By week, technically 18, but the 17th game of their season, who knows if the Titans are throwing Malik Willis or Will Levis in there to get them some reps because they're the quarterback of the future. The way Washington threw Sam Howell in for the regular season finale for the Commanders against a Cowboys team that mailed it in. But Mark, if I were to be a Jags fan for this year, it would bother me if that game has AFC South meaning. I want that game to have AFC playoff seeding meaning. But Mark, let's face it, it's kind of like the Lions. None of us have faith in the Lions. Why? They're the Lions. Well, what have the Jags done once in the last 15 years? Twice now. Had a winning season. How did they follow up being 6 minutes away from the Super Bowl in 2017? Yeah, with 4 straight losing seasons. With back-to-back number 1 picks in the draft, actually. That's how they followed up.
And I was surprised to hear you say that because you, of all people, have been high on Tennessee for the past 5 years. They're coaching, Tannehill. I mean, there have been reasons why you have been high on the Titans. So that's why I asked you of all people, the question.
I thought the Titans window closed last year and the injuries made the house collapse. But from a cap standpoint, Mark, they're not nearly the roster that they were in 2021 when they were the 1 seed. And I think, they still have some very good players, but they got, D-Hop's 30 plus. Derrick Henry's got a lot of mileage on him. I'm a Tannehill guy, but he is what he is. Like, is D-Hop still a 1?
I think that he is.
Okay. His production the last year and a half has been maybe a 1, kind of really good 2.
He didn't play much last year, so it's hard to even put last year on it. How does he,
and was hurt the year before, and he's now the first digits of 3s. I think he's 31. Does he have 1 more year as a number 1 in him? Because this, I think, is it for the Titans. Henry's not going to get better. Probably Tannehill's last year. D-Hop's last year, maybe as a 1. This is all the chips in for the Titans. It's a retool after this year, if not a rebuild.
So the Jags in the spot that they're not used to.
Right.
They're hunted in that division.
Yeah.
They've not handled it well in the past.
No.
By not well, they've completely screwed it up.
Speaking of which, the Rays have been hunted down by the Orioles. We spent a little bit of time on the Rays and the Marlins earlier in the show. The good thing about baseball is wait a day. They'll play 2 more games. We can take a look at the scenario. Trade deadlines in 15 days.
And as you mentioned, now they're still leading the division, but not in the loss column. The Marlins barely hanging on to that wild card spot after losing 3 to the Orioles.
Well, I think the 3 wild card teams are separated by like a game and a half in the National League. The Phillies are technically out of the playoffs, and they're a half a game behind Arizona and only a game behind the Marlins, which means that the Marlins are a game away from being out of the playoffs. Oh, boy. It wasn't a week ago at this time, the 4th best record in baseball. Damn. That happened quickly.
It happens when you get swept over the weekend. It changes ever so quickly as both the Rays and the Marlins now, looking far more vulnerable than they were heading into the All-Star break. And this isn't even the tough part of the schedule for the Marlins. I mean, the Orioles are a competitive, really good team, but now they've got some games that they've got to take advantage of before a really tough stretch in August.
Marlins going to St. Louis. Remember, they took 3 out of 4 from the Cardinals in South Florida a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, they have, a St. Louis series, and is there a Colorado series or a Detroit series coming up?
Both are coming up, and then I think the Rays are mixed in with a 2-gamer, but they've got 3 series against bad baseball teams that they've really got to take advantage of before the schedule gets much more difficult.
Starts on July 31st with a 4-game series against the Phillies. So this is make it happen time for the Marlins, and if they do, then they should go out and acquire somebody.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for joining us in the syndicated part of the show. Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. We appreciate your support. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning. For those of you in the 239, we have what's called the bonus hour. That's next. How we get things done right here on Miller and Moulton. Where else but the Florida Sports Network?
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Time now to play What's in David's Bag of Treats.
Well, yeah, Coach Grizzle, the Braves are the best team in baseball. Oh, yeah. The job that the Braves front office has done is historically great. The Rays GM was on MLB Network Radio yesterday. They have the front office show. It's Jim Bowden and Jim Duquette. And he was asked about, hey, Ohtani? And he said, we have the wherewithal to make any trade, was what Neander said. He said, we have the prospects. We have an owner who financially is committed to us winning a World Series. There's not a deal I can't do. All righty then.
That would be awesome.
Angels might be stupid enough not to trade him, though. Well, the thing with the dead streak with the Braves, though, it's all going to be about the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs every year for the next 3 after this one. I mean, they really will. I mean, how many East have they won in a row? 4? 4 or 5? consecutive Eastern Division titles. I mean, that could easily get to 9. I don't think you can beat them over 162, but you can beat them in a week. It's your only shot.
Some small lung nodules in the past. They noted one that's new that they didn't see previously. These are very tiny and they can fall in between the cuts the CT scanner makes across our bodies. So they recommend repeating it in a few months.
Ten seconds.
On Thursday.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. A classic Wimbledon final. Rory doing what legends do, finishing birdie to win a significant golf tournament, leading into a major. And he hasn't won one of those in 9 years. 2 weeks away, 2 weeks and a day actually away from the baseball trade deadline. Marlins got swept. Rays took 2 out of 3 in Kansas City, yet their lead in the East has gotten as small as it could get. Hell, they're actually losing in the loss column for the first time all year. Are the Baltimore Orioles the best team in the American League? Man, this has been a crazy sports 4 months, going all the way back to mid-March and FAU and Miami and their runs to the Final Four. This has been nuts the last 4 months. It's been awesome.
And now this week, we get the Open Championship. Training camps get going in the NFL by week's end. We'll have players in camp at a few places.
7 hours from now, we find out whether or not the 3 running backs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, or Josh Jacobs, get a long-term deal, or whether they're going to play this year on the tag. And if so, how many games will they play on the tag? I mean, Saquon has all but said, I don't think I'm going to be there for the opener against the Cowboys if you guys are going to play this game. I may be there for the games after that, but I just, you know what? If you're going to treat me this way, I'm going to make you feel a little pain. Oh, okay.
Good luck getting that long-term deal done then.
Well,
I mean, that's part of signing this. You can still sign this and get a long-term deal done. If you don't sign it by today, there's no long-term deal. So I don't know where the player has any advantage by not signing it.
Well, no, you have to. You don't have to sign the tag today, but you have until 4:00 today to work out a multi-year deal. After 4:00 today, the only thing you can do is sign the 1-year tag. And the team's not allowed to negotiate with you even. So
all right,
both
I'm sorry. I had that backwards. My bad.
So both sides have the 4:00 deadline today, Mark. And what they're wondering in New York anyway, like in Vegas, for whatever reason, this management, I mean, let's face it, if you were there before they got there, they seemingly don't like you. You know, they certainly did that to their quarterback. They've gotten rid of Waller and a bunch of other guys. You know, they brought in Devontae, so they like him because he's their guy. But, you know, I mean, they're playing hardball with Josh Jacobs. Pretty damn good player. Top 5 running back in the league. So Saquon, and the Giants have drawn the line with Saquon. The owner may get involved in the Saquon thing, though. A lot of people believe that over the weekend This hasn't been GM and agent talking. This has been John Mara and Saquon Barkley talking.
Is that good or bad for the Giants?
I don't think it's good for the Giants.
That's what I mean. Anytime an owner gets involved at this stage, I don't necessarily think that's a good thing for what the organization wants to do. Might be good for Barkley, might be good for what Mara thinks, but I don't know if that's good long-term for the Giants.
Well, put it this way. I don't think it's good for Joe Shane, the GM of the Giants, because there's only one person above you, or in the Giants' case, two, because they have co-owners. But when one of them's getting involved in negotiations, it's like, well, damn, I guess I don't have final say. I kind of thought I did.
If you're a running back right now, if you're a running back whose deal's up at the end of this year, you've got to just be completely distraught with what's happened in this league.
Well,
because you're never getting paid.
Well, Miles Sanders led the Eagles in rushing. He had 1,200 plus yards rushing. He had to sign a 3-year deal at less than $7 million a year. And he's like 26 years old. That's what the market was for him. He was the leading rusher on the best team in the NFC. He's in his prime as a running back. I don't think, Mark, he got $7 million a year on the open market.
For the two of you that are listening who may have running back sons, convert them to defensive back immediately.
You asked if I was a running back, how would I feel? I would be angry. I really would, that you guys are devaluing me this much. Seriously? And here's the other thing for Saquon. The Giants threw money at Daniel Jones. And now Jones and Barkley are tight. But deep down, Barkley, when he's not around Jones, is probably looking at his, best friend or his agent and going, come on, I'm better at my position than Daniel Jones is at his. Seriously? And I got to grovel for this guaranteed money? They won't even guarantee me this year and next year what I'd make on the tag?
Right. They won't guarantee me 2 years of money.
They're only going to guarantee me a year and a half? I mean, think about it, Mark. We're talking about, I think, 3 of the top 7 for sure, maybe 3 of the top 6 or 3 of the top 5 running backs. Barkley, Jacobs, and Dalvin Cook. I mean, Dalvin Cook reportedly is not being offered anything more than what Miles Sanders got. I mean, these are 3 of the 5, 6 best running backs. And the wear and tear on them, even though, they've all been banged up. You're a running back. You get banged up. But I think they're younger with less carries on them than McCaffrey, Kamara, Derrick Henry. Listen, you know what I would have done with Saquon if I were the Giants. All right. I would have guaranteed 2.5 years. I would have given him the 13 and change, would have made him the 3rd highest paid running back, because Derek, I think, makes 13. I would have given him 4 for 53, Mark. That's 13 and a quarter a year. And I would have guaranteed 30 of it. I'd guarantee the first 2 years and about $4 million a year 3. 30 guaranteed, 4 for 53. Let's go. You say no, to be honest with you, I'm signing Dalvin Cook. I'm not playing around. And I'll find the cap room so that I can have both of you on the roster, and I'll trade you midway through this season. I will. I'll get something for you.
The other big football news, D-Hop signing with the Titans. The Patriots were in the running. Doesn't that just put the stamp on the Patriots finishing in last in the AFC East? I mean, they need weapons. They need players, and they couldn't get the one that was out there that they were close to.
Mark, when do you think the Patriots are not going to have the 4th best roster in that division?
It can change quickly in the NFL with free agency and drafting, but it seems that for the next 2 years, They're this year and next, they're locked into the 4-hole.
If we were to ask a Patriots fan right now, of which there are many listening, so when do you think you win your next playoff game?
We went through the exercise earlier in the show that the Patriots are on a list of teams that have not won a playoff game in over 5 years.
Now, the Patriots are at the very bottom of it because they did, and I actually think the list is a little off because I was thinking about it. The Patriots did win a playoff game in the 2018 season. So they're 5 years removed, but they're really only 4 seasons removed. They're 5 years, but 4 seasons. So I think putting the Patriots on the list was a bit of a reach by the folks that did it, but still, 5 years. They haven't won a playoff game. When do you think they'll win their next one?
21,000 is the text line, 21000. Curious, Pats fan. Do you agree with us? Do you think you're the 4th roster in the division?
And don't get me wrong. I mean, they'll certainly be better coached offensively this year with Bill O'Brien than they were last year. I can't imagine Mac Jones plays worse this year than he did last year. But, I mean, tell me the team in that division that right now you like your roster over theirs. I mean, come on. You would not take your team over the Dolphins. You would not take your team over the Jets. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You'd rather have their roster. You'd want your coach with their roster. If this continues, how much longer does Kraft, by the way, say to Bill, you've still got final say on personnel? I know you can coach, but no offense, Bill. This roster, this ain't working.
It is interesting that they brought O'Brien there, the two guys who have done more to hurt their coaching status by their ability to be a GM than any other guys that we can really think of right now.
And what I wonder for the Packers fan out there, because we've all seen what's happened to the Patriots post Brady. Well, now here you are, post Favre/Rodgers. You sure you're not going to be mediocre? I know you're still drinking the Kool-Aid. You know, it's 30 years. It's tasted great. It's looked great. It's tasted great. It's always been cold. Okay, it's always been fresh. All right. Ask a Colts fan what life is like without Manning and Luck, by the way.
You know what happened to that Kool-Aid? They're going to start pouring vodka in it pretty quickly.
Well, then it may taste better than it has during the run. But it's true. They may need it. That's all we're saying. May need it. But I am wondering, because that's an interesting scenario in New England. Belichick's what, 30 wins, something like that? 25 wins. He's like 3 or so years away from passing Shula. Of course, Belichick wants the record. Of course, Kraft wants him to have the record in New England. But can you keep letting him be in charge of personnel when your free agency and drafting record for a while now is
He's exactly 30 wins behind Shula.
I mean, that's ideally it'd be 3 years, and it's probably going to need 4, and maybe all of 4.
Yeah, all of 4, maybe into the 5th.
Whoa!
Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when What's on Tap? That's 25 minutes away right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So how long is this register for, like, the entire fall league? Is it, 3-4 months?
What's that?
Logic Man talking about $400 to register 3 kids for youth soccer in San Carlos.
130 a kid.
133 a kid. So,
No, it seems like 130 a kid. I don't know why.
I mean, it's $40 a month, basically $45 a month if it's 3 months. 30 something a month if it's
September,
4
October,
months.
November. Yeah, it's 3.5 months. I mean,
I'm
me
assuming.
too, Logic Man. I'm telling you.
Now, do you also have to pay for a uniform?
Nope.
Oh, well, then you're paying for with that. You get uniform and you pay for the
socks. Socks, uni, and jersey,
and coaching and
coaching's all voluntary.
Right. All right. Yeah.
Yes, they do. You know what's amazing is how much my daughter loves those trophies too.
Oh, wow. That's got to hurt.
Whatever. All up in her room. Her medals from gymnastics, her trophies from all these trivial sports.
The next battle will be when she goes away to college and you look at your wife and you go, listen, let's get rid of these.
I had a good 8 years to not worry about a problem like that, David.
You do. You have plenty of time. This is where you need the kid on your side, where all of a sudden she's like 15 and she's like, Mom, I don't need any of this. Why are we saving this?
Hey, my daughter just got rid of all of her dolls at 9. She doesn't play with dolls. She doesn't like them. She goes, Dad, I want to get rid of all these. Come here. Hug me.
Did you give them to a shelter or someplace like that?
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. So did you pay attention to any of this messy stuff last night in Fort Lauderdale?
No.
So the entire stadium, I think it seats like 25,000 in Fort Lauderdale, sold out. It was a downpour. 2-3 hour storm. People waited. Apparently they bought $200 Messi jerseys in the parking lot and while they were waiting. And he comes out in jeans and a t-shirt basically. They just introduced him. That was it. It was Beckham, it was Jorge Mas, and I think like one other guy, and Messi came out and said a few words. And that's it. Sold out. 25,000 people. They were selling thousands of jerseys. Apparently MLS Plus, because that's the only, Apple Plus. I'm sorry. Apple Plus. They're the exclusive MLS outlet. Mark, apparently they are going to cover, all right, what's the name of this franchise again? Inter Miami CF. They are going to cover their matches like it's an NFL playoff game. 18 cameras, apparently, per match. Drones, ISO cameras, the whole deal.
That is incredible coverage for a fifth-tier league. That's what happens when a fifth-tier league gets the world's best player on it. I mean, this is full coverage for Savannah Bananas baseball. That's what we're giving them. And I think it's great that Messi signed with Miami, and I encourage anybody that can get a ticket to go to a game. It's very special to have that gifted of an athlete play that sport in our country. It's still a really bad league.
Really bad? Is that being a little harsh?
Okay. Is it better when I call it a fifth-tier league?
Actually, that sounds better.
It sounds better.
It does.
To
me, anyway.
Better. But fifth tier in baseball, major leagues, AAA, AA, single A, low A.
Well, there's high A and low A. So, right, it'd be
low
rookie ball. Right, it'd be low A or rookie ball. Right, it'd be the Mighty Muscles. So you're saying Messi is playing in the soccer equivalent of the Florida State League. Okay.
Yeah. Those are facts.
Tell you what, if that's the case, considering what he did at the World Cup, he should be really good.
And he got his buddy to come over and play with him. So they've got two, one European superstar, one really good European player to come over here. It's tremendous for the league. And if the league ends up wanting to be the fourth or third tier league in the world, these are moves that are going to continually have to be made over the course of the next decade.
Beckham was emotional at the event.
Yeah, he finally saw his franchise about to make money.
There's already a song, by the way, that Inter Miami made for Messi, and it is a bop.
Wait, it's a what?
It's a bop. It bumps.
Okay, so just to review for this old guy, that's a good thing, right? It's a bop?
Yes, a bop.
If it's a bop and it bumps, David, that's a good thing.
Okay, gotcha. So in other words, it's something something upbeat, something snappy?
Correct.
And of course, in Espanol.
Well, what other language would it be in?
True.
Now, don't you think Apple Plus is doing all of this for, well, the non-United States audience? I mean, he went to Publix. There was 2 pictures. That's it. There were 2 people who used their phone and went, that guy looks like Messi.
That short guy getting a sub looks like Messi.
Right.
Excuse me, sir, is that turkey?
I love the people analyzing his groceries.
A lot of
Apparently he had
cereal.
3 different kinds of cereal. And my question is, was he eating the shredded wheat or is he eating the Lucky Charms? Man, I hope he's eating the Lucky Charms. That'd be fantastic. Greatest soccer player in the world's like, listen, I'm going to the MLS. I don't need to eat healthy anymore. Okay.
Lucky Charms for breakfast and Hooters for lunch. Let's go MLS.
That's what I was hoping when I saw it. I'm like, I know it's probably for the kids, but damn, wouldn't it be great if we get a picture of him at the kitchen table with the Lucky Charms?
And I've said this before, but it's just so funny watching him play in the most extravagant. Like he's going from playing the most extravagant, biggest, famous stadiums on earth to, of course, the Drive Pink Stadium in Fort Myers, Florida,
or Fort Lauderdale. Florida.
Wrong Fort.
So there you all. It was quite a, it's one of those moments in which you realize, because I'm not into soccer, if you know what I mean, and emphasizing obviously I pay attention to it. I know how great he is. He was inspiring in the World Cup. He was so good. I found myself rooting for him, and I'm a Ronaldo guy who always rooted for Ronaldo over Messi, and I found myself rooting for Messi, in the final. His performance was extraordinary. But this isn't my thing, if you know what I mean. But when you see 25,000 people showing up on a Sunday night to sit through a thunderstorm, basically, just so that
David.
Yeah, just so that a guy can walk on stage and go, hey, it's great to be here. Okay, hopefully we give you guys plenty to cheer about over the next few years, and see you soon.
What I'm curious is, this is so perfect Miami. But at what point, if they're bad, and I don't know if they're going to be good, but I mean, they've been bad for a while.
They're the worst team in the league.
Yeah, they're the worst team in the MLS.
Right.
Right.
If they stay mediocre, if they go from bad to mediocre with Messi, not good, by next year, is the Miami fan had enough of it?
As long as Messi is playing for that team, it won't matter. People will show up and they will sell out every game.
For how long?
As long as Messi is there.
Okay. Because with LeBron, they always won.
Right.
The moment that LeBron was gone, Miami Heat tickets were readily available again. But they always won while he was there. They never had a mediocre season.
Right. They went to the finals all 4 years.
Well, this is a little different. Because
It's a lot different. It's
right.
not a little different, Felipe.
It's
Felipe,
fair.
I am granting you, it is a lot different. It's an international superstar in an international city, and maybe that's enough to sell out every game.
Not only that, but the Heat already had some form of life in Dwayne Wade.
Yes. Yeah. And they had, Yeah, they had a history. They had won a title, right?
This is a lifeless
But
soccer
before
team.
LeBron signed, you could buy season tickets damn near anywhere you wanted to for Heat games. Trust me, I know that. Do you know why? I was looking to buy them because I knew LeBron was coming. And the day after he signed, every season ticket was sold out, and they fired the entire ticket department because they didn't need them anymore.
No, that's true.
Well, these are facts. I'm not making it.
Believe you.
And they didn't rehire anybody until LeBron left. And then it was like, wow, we might actually have to work to sell a ticket.
So Dwayne Wade didn't have them selling out every night. LeBron did. And I am just curious. And Messi's entirely different. But we're into year 3 of this, and they're mediocre. Are they still selling out every game? You think yes, and you're probably right, Felipe.
It's Messi. It's one guy.
I want to see him. I know that. I do. If I could somehow, some way get, because Orlando is a franchise, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if by chance I could get my hands on a ticket, that's a 2-hour drive, I'd be all over it. I don't know if I'd do 5 hours to see him play in an MLS match. I mean, I'd do 5 hours to see him play in a World Cup match, but.
So that's all. I'm curious what it does for the league, what it does in Miami, because we all know how the Miami fan is. And how will this all play out with Messi? Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Adam, don't they still draw really well? I mean, they were the highest draw in the MLS for a couple of years. I don't know if they still are.
He would sell up Mercedes-Benz Stadium easily.
Yeah, but they were putting 40,000 in there a night anyhow.
Right.
They're killing it there. Or were. Did you enjoy when they yelled Knights during the national anthem? If you were there for that, that all stems from the hockey team I worked for in the early to mid 90s, the Atlanta Knights.
It still hasn't fully hit me that this man is about to play soccer for Inter Miami. Oh, man. Oh, logic. I did see that. Oh, man. That was so bad. That pop fly was hit to space. It moved a lot on him, though. Still got to make that play.
That hit him hard in the face.
Yeah.
The Met on the pop-up?
Yeah. Yeah, Adam, that is from the Atlanta Knights, minor league hockey team. They still carry out that Knights thing at Atlanta whatever soccer games, which is kind of cool as someone who worked for the Atlanta Knights. Show flew by today.
3 guests help.
7:38.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You know, normally we promote what's coming on the show tomorrow. We had 3 guests on the show today. You missed any of them. Whether it be Blaine Bishop talking about D-Hop signing with the Titans, whether it be Bob Harig live from the Open Championship. You know, Matt Murschel talking about UCF. Man, are they fired up. In the Big 12, South Florida in their rearview mirror. I ain't never going to play them again.
Nope. It doesn't sound like it.
At least not right now. At least not right now. And it's funny, does it help or hurt South Florida's cause? Like if they get good, you know, we're in on this Alex Golish guy. We're in. We like him. Okay, we're giving him a shot. Well, what if they get good? I mean, if you're UCF, aren't you least likely to play him? Can't lose to him, right?
You want them to, if you're going to play them, you want them where they are, and you just beat them like a drum and keep them where they are.
Right. So, anyway, we'll see. But if you missed any of our interview, Blaine Bishop, Matt Murschel, Bob Harig, you know, go to floridasportsnetwork.com. You know, our podcasts, download them, that whole thing.
On what appears to be a rainy Monday, it's time now for.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right, I'm going with this to start, and I double-checked it because anytime it's the end of a war, I want to make sure I have the date right. And I got about 6 different dates, but I'm going with it anyhow. Because I got confirmation in one spot. 1898, the end of the Spanish-American War, the Spaniards surrendered to U.S. forces. 1925, Tris Speaker is the 5th to get 3,000 hits. 1937, Elmer Fudd is created by Warner Brothers. He was originally called Egghead.
I like Elmer Fudd better.
I agree. 1959, the Hitchcock movie North by Northwest premieres in L.A. 1974, Bob Gibson becomes the second to strike out 3,000. 1976, the Olympic Games open in Montreal.
Hold on a second. So it was Walter Johnson and then it was Gibson?
According to what I have, Cesar
Wow.
Geronimo was the foe.
That's a great 8-hole hitter for the Reds.
78, Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson get into a fight in the dugout after Jackson refuses to bunt, and then Martin suspends him. God, baseball in the late 70s in New York was fantastic.
Martin, I think, gets fired within like the next day or two because I believe after the game, like the New York media asking him about it, and somehow he made, and I don't know if the question involved George, but he lumped Reggie and George together, and he said one's a born liar and the other's convicted. Because Steinbrenner 5 years earlier had been convicted of something. It would eventually get pardoned. And he said that about Reggie and George. One's a born liar and the other's convicted. And I think he tearfully the next day resigned.
1980, Ronald Reagan accepts the nomination for president from the Republican Party. 1983, Watson wins his 5th Open. His 2nd consecutive and 3rd in his last 4. That's a pretty good run, David.
And it was over. That was his last major. Even though 26 years later, he took a 1-shot lead to 18.
Also today in 83, the first USFL championship. Big day in the state of Michigan, David, as the Michigan Panthers defeat the Philadelphia Stars.
That was Jim Morris' team, right? You guys had Carter, the wide receiver. They had Chuck Fus. Did you have Hebert?
Yes.
You had Hebert and Carter. They had Chuck Fusina, as quarterback, and they were more of a ground and pound type of, Jim Mora. He ran the football.
94 World Cup final in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. Brazil would win on penalties, defeating Italy. 2005, Tiger goes wire to wire to win the British Open. 2011, Darren Clark wins his only major, defeating Mickelson and DJ by 3. 2016, Harig Stenson wins the British, beating Phil by 3.
63 on Sunday. Mickelson's one back. He shoots 65 and gets beat by 3.
And a year ago, this guy named Cameron Smith won his first major by beating Rory by a shot. James Cagney, Phyllis Diller, Daryl LaMonica, and Connie Hawkins all born today. Actor Donald Sutherland's 88. Some great movies he's in.
Yes.
One of your favorites, David. Camilla, she's 76 today. David Hasselhoff is 71. Angela Merkel, 69. Brian Trottier, 67. Scott Norwood is 63. Calbert Cheney's 52. And Luke Bryan's 47. What did I miss, David?
A few things. It was today in 41 that DiMaggio's hitting streak ended at 56 games. So, and the diving play by the third baseman, he made 2 great plays. Name escapes me. And then he would hit in 17 consecutive games beginning tomorrow. So, what else? John Lewis died today, 3 years ago.
Coltrane actually died today too, but I don't do much on death days.
Right. Disneyland out in California opened today in 55. So Disneyland is 68 years old.
And they haven't updated rides since.
Up until recently, they didn't have to. I went once. I was out there. I forget if it was for a Super Bowl or what, but 30 years ago, I went there once. In fact, I went to Disneyland before I ever went to Disney World. Was not impressed, for what it's worth.
It's never been made for you.
You know what? You make a dadgum good point.
I can't see you in a Disneyland character's t-shirt, although I would buy the shirt if I could convince you to wear it on the show. I'm not sure what it would be. Maybe an Aladdin shirt. I'm not exactly positive, but something.
I think it was the Super Bowl, and I was there in like late January. It was packed.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Air Force veteran Arthur Walters Jr. Anytime someone celebrates a big birthday, I think it's worth talking about, but he celebrated his 104th birthday. The only crew member of his squadron from the Air Force still alive, which is pretty obvious. When asked what he attributes his long living to, he says, I have two good friends, Jim Beam and Jack Daniels. Not even making that up. For the bad, we go to Fort Lauderdale, where Alicia Griggs is trying to raise money for a rescue group to recapture and neuter the now 60 to 100 rabbits that have escaped in her neighborhood. Apparently, a breeder illegally let loose a couple of rabbits. And you know what rabbits do when they're out? Rabbit things.
Right.
They multiply.
Yes.
So now domestic rabbits have taken over this Lauderdale neighborhood. And this lady's trying to get rid of all of them. For the ugly, we go to Dayton, where it's bad enough to go out night riding on your ATV, but usually you should leave the lights on and try to avoid police cars. In this case, the operator of the four-wheeler trying to get away from one police car rear-ended another and will spend a little time in jail for doing so. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, July the 17th, 2023.
Well, we're back, post All-Star break. So we got baseball. I mean, don't have golf till Thursday. Wimbledon's over with. But we've got, 10 baseball games tonight? Something like that.
Rays are in Texas.
Yeah, 8
I think
o'clock.
it's a big series for the Rays.
They're 4 games ahead of the Rangers. Right now, both leading their division. So that would be for the 1 seed, even though Baltimore has a better record than Texas. They are technically a wild card right now. Marlins are in St. Louis, taking on the Cardinals. Luzardo against Mikolas. Good pitching matchup there.
Orioles hosting the Dodgers in what's an interesting series to start this week off.
Orioles with the 3rd best record in baseball. Dodgers back in first in the West. Yankees in Anaheim. They'll begin lobbying Ohtani. Boy, do they need him. Judge still out. Rizzo hasn't homered in 2 months. Whew. Meanwhile, Ohtani's got 34.
Contract are they going to have to eat when they ship him to Anaheim to get Ohtani?
He's got a no trade. They can't. Stanton can reject it. Yeah. I know. Oh, I know. There is a nationally televised baseball game tonight. Twins and Mariners on FS1. Mark mentioned all those nice matchups. Dodgers, Orioles, Yankees, Angels.
It's Giants and Reds, which is a good series.
Rays, Rangers, even a nice series.
Right.
We got the Twins and the Mariners. Yeah. A couple teams combined or 2 games over 500. Yeah, there you go. Hey, so there's something that's out there. And Griffey, in Seattle was kind of like the focus of the, All-Star weekend. And I don't know if you saw up close, but the trash talking that he was doing during Home Run Derby. So apparently they're considering adding a Legends division to Home Run Derby. I have a question for you. Would you like to see, and I wouldn't want to see multiple rounds. I would want to see
one round.
Give these guys whatever it is, 20 outs, 10 minutes, whatever you're going to do. So Griffey Jr., David Ortiz, Albert Pujols, and Jim Thome apparently are in.
I like it.
Now, Pujols is how far removed from the game?
Not very.
No. Griffey's 53. Your thoughts on a senior division for Home Run Derby?
Why not? It's an exhibition. What's it going to hurt? Unless one of them gets hurt.
Well, and if they do, what are the...
Have
So
Blue Emu sponsor it.
That's funny.
You won't stink.
So, just throwing that out there. Maybe do something a little different. Put it this way. Would you be in favor of seeing we shorten the Home Run Derby from 8 players to 4 because we have to eliminate a round so that we can fit in a senior division? Or no?
I'm fine with it. Eliminate selfies at the Tour de France and add a senior division to the Home Run Derby. I'm all for it.
Man, the fans at the Tour de France are causing wrecks seemingly every other day.
Right. Nick, good point. Frank Thomas should be in with all the testosterone pills he's pushing.
Have Flutie throw to him.
I have no problem with the senior division. Why not? I don't want to see him play, but I'd let him swing for a little bit.
And there is NASCAR today at noon. New Hampshire got postponed because of rain yesterday. USA Network, by the way. USA.
It out yesterday. And then when I turned it on and one of their regular shows was on, I went, oh, we must be in a rain delay. No crawl, no nothing. They just went back to regularly scheduled programming.
So NASCAR at noon, baseball tonight.
And that's how we'll do a Monday. Thanks so much for listening. If you missed any of the show, go to MillerandMoulton.com or FloridaSportsNetwork.com to catch what you missed. We'll do it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy